Good evening and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We are going to be jumping in here with our 17th session of DayTrippers. It's a super fun game. It's just John and I. We had Vince on here for a little while. We had Jesse on here for a little while, and maybe we'll see Jesse back again. I know he was talking to Chad about maybe resurrecting Chip. It makes me sad in my heart a little bit when I send out the invites. It's like add Jesse, and I'm like, no.
Oh, Chip.
Yeah. I'll probably edit this out later, but fuck name.com and fuck WordPress. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'll probably edit this out later, but the whole website was all fucking jacked up before I tried posting this stuff up. So and then I get that off my chest. But all that being aside, I'm going to kick it over to Todd. Let him give us a recap, and we'll jump into the game.
Okay. Well, when we last left our two intrepid young heroes, they were mid-mission on the planet Drir. Now, this is a contract job for... How's my audio level? You guys hear me all right?
Yep, sounds okay.
Okay, cool. You're working for X Investments. It's a pretty important job because it's a search and rescue operation. A fellow named Drir Mentaka apparently is a pretty well-known day tripper, but you guys hadn't heard of him before. Got sent out here by X Investments to the planet Drir. And let me share with you a little bit about Drir. There we go. And folks at home can read along. Drir is a planet of poisonous, swirling mists and intense humidity. Wisps and dark clouds of blue and green gases drift casually about without mixing like oil and water, creating layers of shadow and subtle motion as far as the eye can see in all directions. It drips with mystery and plays havoc with visual perception. Survival suits are a definite necessity. And you guys didn't know the role for this, but here's what happens if you end up exposed to the atmosphere. You have to make a health roll every minute or start suffering muscle spasms, nerve malfunctions, and generalized skin irritation.
Oof. Sounds like my Saturday nights.
Yeah, so it is one of those components, either the blue or the green, is corrosive, acidic. And it fucked up your drone. Just before we ended last night's mission, you had searched through. I'll share a different screen with you now.
Right, the drone.
Yeah, that was my bad. I brought that into the decon, into the
well, better the drone than us.
Yeah, fucked it all up.
We had. Oh wait, was that Reggie Jr.?
No, that's the ship.
That's the ship. Okay, right. Okay.
And Dan is the computer who's inside the dome.
Okay, damn it. So the ship is Reggie Jr.
Mm-hmm.
And who... Listen to me. I'm derailing to find out all the names.
The ship's computer is Regulus, who you've named Reggie Jr.
Oh, that's right. Oh, I had good notes. I just didn't know how to interpret them. All right, good.
It's a start. I mean...
I just didn't put the word ship next to all the stuff. Good. All right, let's do it. Sorry.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to get this view on the screen here.
Oh, yes.
That's good.
Right.
That's
Can you see the whole dome?
Uh-huh. The sleeping quarters is cut off a little bit by the by the echo, but we can see what it is. It's fine.
Okay. So there it is. There's the Vidome. You guys have searched every room. In room 4, which is the common area, you watch some videos of the crew and a guy who must be Drir Mentaka, who was playing with his dog. And I wanted to note, because I wasn't sure I said this when I reviewed it. I think I didn't say it, but I wanted to be clear. In these 3D videos where Mentaka is playing with his dog, that was right here in the commons room. That was not old home video. That was recent video taken right on this mission.
Yeah, I think you had mentioned that it was like a post, visual postcard home kind of thing.
Yeah, so I just want to make clear that the man and the dog playing with each other, That was happening right here inside the dome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I remember this has a real Event Horizon feel to it, and I was feeling scared.
Because you guys saw something that looked like maybe about the shape of a large dog running by in the mist before you even entered the Vidome, back when you were still on the ship. So there's something out there shaped, sized roughly like a large dog, and you don't know what it is. You keep seeing things moving around out there. Sometimes they seem maybe dog-sized, sometimes maybe man-sized. And just as we cut the camera, there was something that looked like a long snake hovering between the trees. But the air on this planet is messing with your vision, and it's hard to tell what you really saw.
All right, so I think
now your drone is dead. It's laying out there in the moss, and that was our last shot. And I will accept your suggestion, John, that you guys don't see it, but the camera cuts back to the drone, and there's a little spark of electricity, and then something moves past the drone, and it looks like it might be man-sized.
Nice. Then the airlock door closes.
There's something man-sized.
All right, so we head back in then, I guess, at that point, and it's I mean, Reg, they're dead, right? I mean, I think
I've seen this movie. They're all dead.
Well, I mean, so I think the thing we saw outside when we came up was probably the dog, right? I mean, like,
we know the atmosphere is corrosive and causes problems. So how is it, if it is the actual dog, one can only assume that it is mutated. No?
Well, the mimic, right? I mean, like, maybe whatever the non-sentient quote-unquote life form is able to withstand the mists, clearly.
Okay, so let me catch you guys up a little bit more, especially in case there's anyone listening to this that didn't hear the first half. What you've discovered is that room number 2 is the command room. That's where you hooked up with Dan, the computer. And Dan, the computer, has been really helpful, but Dr. Mentaka was very secretive the last couple days that he was in the dome. And there hasn't been anyone interfacing with Dan for the last 2 days. You did find a program entitled Participant Research Biochemistry, but it's scrambled. It looks like Mentaka's secret project, but you guys were not able to crack the code, and Dan can't crack the code either. You did find enough notes scattered around the room, paper, written down notes, to put together that Mentaka was researching something he called the Mimic. And the Mimic had the ability to alter its form to possibly any other type of creature. He had brought some samples into the dome, and he was attempting to write a program that could enable Dan to either synthesize or at least diagnose the chemical and molecular properties of the Mimic's flesh. But he did not complete that program. Something happened. The place was a mess when you found it. There's like furniture broken and scattered around. The bot was programmed to defend the place and attacked you aggressively before you managed to shut it down. And Dan doesn't know anything because, as far as he's concerned, nothing's happened for the last 2 days.
Right. And the module, like the central module for the robot, was also scrambled or removed.
Yeah, something seems to have been removed from the robot. The data that does exist is all encrypted. Dan can't decrypt it, although we did tell you there is one file at the end that's different from all of the rest.
Mm-hmm.
And the bot right now is useless. You've powered it down and transferred a backup of everything in it over to Dan.
Right.
Did we already talk to Dan about whether or not there was any secret, is there any secret compartments in this facility?
You actually did not ask him. but he can provide you with the schematics. And there are small cubby holes and closet space that's not indicated on the map, but nothing I would consider secret, he says.
But he can scan for life forms anyway, probably, within the facility. So I think that...
He said there was none.
There are life scanners on the outside of the dome. They're pointed outward, but they're not activated right now. If you want Dan to activate a scan, you just ask him.
Oh, I feel like that would be a good idea. Nash?
Yeah, no, definitely. Good call, Reg.
Also, I have a bit of a question for Dad. Dad, could you describe to me in detail exactly how Dr. Mentaka was able to capture one of these mimic creatures? Shit.
Always with the dice.
Never before have I ever been so wigged out by dice being rolled after silence.
I have a theory. Did you instruct him to call you Reggie or Mr. Carlisle?
I think Reggie and Jack. I think he was calling me Jack.
Reggie and Jack. Okay. I have a theory, Reggie.
You may call me Reg.
I have a theory, Reg. But as you know, correlation does not necessarily indicate causation. And
I know exactly what those words mean.
And therefore, my theory must remain hypothetical. However, I believe that I had noticed an uptick in mimic activity within 100 meters shortly after the period of any atmospheric scan, such as the one you asked me to perform now.
Would you say they are drawn to the atmospheric scans? Would that be a hypothesis?
There is a high probability that if some form of causation is reflected in my limited data, then an attraction of some sort might be indicated.
Dan, why don't you turn that scan off and just... Oh, do you see anything now?
There are no life forms within 100 meters.
Yeah, why don't you shut that off for now?
That's probably... Nash, I have to be honest, I only understood about 25% of what it just said.
No, so what Dan is saying is if when they turn the scans on, it's drawing whatever the mimic is to the dome.
That's good information. Yeah, shut it down.
I mean, we have to assume that...
And Dan will continue to say that he voiced this opinion to Dr. Mentaka, who didn't seem to make much of it. But as far as Dan theorizes, and he doesn't know because he doesn't have visual sensors of this, but as far as Dan theorizes, Mentaka used an atmospheric scan to lure a mimic close enough to the dome to somehow seize it. Now, this is a theory, says Dan. I do not have enough data to even predict a high causation, only a correlation.
So how about... All right, okay. I think I understand now. So there wasn't a point in time where it seemed as though he asked you to perform a scan and then summarily disappeared 20 minutes later. Is there some sort of a timestamp on his last request for scan?
I'm searching my records now. There was a 2-hour gap between my last scan and my last contact with Dr. Mentaka.
As in, you scanned, and then 2 hours later, you heard from him?
2 hours later, Dr. Mentaka was in the dome when he must have shut off all of my sensors and inputs.
What?
He powered me down.
All right, you're sure that it was him and not a mimic?
Again, I do not have enough data to prove that there was a causative effect here. However,
I'm sorry, Dan.
Dr. Mentaka was clearly within the dome as he was speaking to me directly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Dan. I'm not very good at some of this, but thank you. Thank you, Dan.
I wonder whether or not he...
Dan is admitting that it's possible someone else might have powered him down, but his theory is that Dr. Mentaka powered him down because Dr. Mentaka's was the last voice that he heard. Meanwhile, the 2-hour gap, he doesn't have any contact with Mentaka during that gap. So again, he's theorizing that Mentaka ordered the scan in order to summon a mimic.
What about, would we say, is there some sort of activity log with the airlock around that time period?
The airlock was used 3 times within 30 minutes of the last atmospheric scan.
Are you able to tell who used it?
I am sorry, Reg. I have no visual sensors.
Right, yes. Okay, you mentioned that. That's my bad.
So look, I'm thinking he had him do the scans. It brought the mimic in, right? Like he took his samples, but then the last time I wonder whether or not he drew one of them in, let him in, and it attacked the rest of the crew. Remember when we were looking at the logs, they had no idea. There was no interact. They were watching movies while he was doing his secret, shenanigans here. I think X Investments knew. I think Blanche lied. Not Blanche. What was her name?
It was Blanche Rigardi.
Okay. I mean, we asked her point blank if she knew anything else, and she said no. Like, this is the kind of bullshit that I was talking to Bento about.
I feel like we should just assume everyone involved in any mission that we're sent on is just lying to us or withholding some sort of information that could be useful.
Well,
which I think we sort of did this time around. I don't think we actually trusted her to begin with, but maybe a little more information about this would have helped.
All right. Well, so what do you want to do? I mean, we can call back upstream. We're in free space. Let Bento know this is Fubar. Maybe. I don't know if we can get a signal out through this atmosphere.
We are not in a dream world, right?
No, we're in free space.
Right. All right, you said free space.
Yeah.
Right. Well, this is a rescue mission, right?
Well, I mean, they're all risky, I suppose.
Well, no, rescue. I'm sorry. Sometimes.
Rescue. Yes.
The
accent, sometimes it throws me.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm a little thrown, to be honest, because I don't understand.
You were expecting to rescue a whole crew and bring them back to Earth. Turns out what you've got is a mystery of some kind, and maybe only one member of this crew survived, and maybe he's doing something that nobody knows he's doing.
I just think if we hope to bring anyone back, it's probably going to be that dog or that humanoid figure, which in the back of my mind, Nash, I'm certain that it's a mimic, and I feel like I don't know. I feel like we should lure. I feel like we should try to catch a mimic. I don't know. I'm leaning towards it.
What are we gonna? I mean, we could kill it, maybe. I mean, we could shoot the fuck out of it.
He did something. He had contact with it. He did something with it. What if they're intelligent? What if they have something to say?
What if they just want to be you, Reg? I mean, I don't think Bento could handle it.
He goes, oh my God, they want to be me. Oh God, there's a song in there somewhere.
Yeah, it puts the lotion on its skin.
Do we have a basket?
Look,
a deep hole.
Look, I'm just saying that, like you said, this was search and rescue. I think they're all dead. I think he got in a little bit over his head, and if he was still alive, I think he'd be here, right? I mean, the atmosphere is toxic. I mean, how long is he going to be able to like hide out in the woods with other mimics? Like, don't you think they're going to try to?
Well, that's why I'm sort of curious about why he would summon. I mean, he was clearly the only one who was hyper interested in studying them.
But I think because X Investments wanted him to. I mean, I think they knew. They said they just found it. I mean, I don't know. You know, maybe.
The block for me is going back empty-handed. The block for me is going back empty-handed.
Well, we're going back with information, right? Again, if we can get a signal upstream to Bento, just let him know what the situation and see what he wants us to do.
All right, let's do that before we actually shove off. Let's do that. Go ahead.
I mean, do you think we can get a signal out?
I don't know. I mean, Dan, can you get a signal out?
I am not equipped with up vector radio. There may be one on. Oh man, I've forgotten the name of the ship.
It's a Viper 6 or something.
Oh, I have that in my notes.
Yeah, you guys definitely. I think you have one on your Viper 6, but I was referring to their ship, the Delphina. There may be an up vector radio on board the Delphina, which we barely touched on, but the crashed remains of the Delphina are just beyond the 100-meter range of this clearing you're in.
How convenient.
Well, do you want to? Yeah, I remember.
They were angling toward this spot. It had been pre-selected, but something made their ship go down.
Yeah. Well, do we want to check out the wreck first? We never did do that.
Checking out the wreck requires going out, correct?
Well, I mean, if it's within 100 meters or so. It's like 120. It's outside of the clearing, but not far out.
All right. Well, are we worried about them, the mimics, the creatures? If so, if we're going to go out towards the wreck, let's have them blast out a scan and use that as a distraction and get out there.
But it's going to draw them to us, Reg. And then we got to...
Right, but I'm saying it'll draw them to this location. And if we're not in this location, do we worry about it? I'm just trying to gauge how worried you are about the mimics.
Well, I'm not super excited about it for sure. I mean, Dan, could we put that scan on a timer? Like, could you start to scan in like 10 minutes? That way we get away from the dome before those things come in. You know what I'm saying?
I can start to scan at any pre-designated time, Jack.
That's nice. That's good.
All right. I mean, that's something. Hey, Dan, when the scientists, when the team arrived here, did Dr. Mentaka immediately begin to reference or I can't think of the word I want to use, to upload data concerning the mimic?
I recall the first time Dr. Mentaka came in and started speaking to me about opening files regarding a new life form, which he was referring to as a mimic. It does not seem to have been one among his, what should Dan say? I have no indication that Mentaka was aware of the mimics before coming here. Okay. But it took less than 1 day for him to begin using the word.
Probably because he played Dungeons and Dragons.
Did I assume, Dan, that scans were begun shortly after the team arrived then? So that if your theory is correct, and the team arrived and began scans, and creatures began showing up shortly thereafter.
I run scans every hour on the hour as a matter of protocol. Do you wish me to discontinue this practice?
For now, yeah. That's probably for the best.
Logged and noted.
I mean, so, Reg, if these things are native...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's at least 3 more of them who may or may not have some semblance of their former selves still accessible. Does that seem feasible?
I mean, start where you're talking about their former selves. I must have missed something along the way. I thought it was just They're the native species, correct?
Well, but if the native species is indeed this creature that Mantaka called the Mimic, and his supposition is that it can mimic other life forms, I assume by extension that means that it somehow consumes and or uses the original life form.
I have to admit, I hadn't even considered that was even any scope of possibilities, but now that you've mentioned it, it's terrifying to think about.
Well, when we came up, there was that creature that was like dog size that kind of like scuttered away when we came up originally to the dome. I think
the idea of a mimic. The idea of a mimic, though, would say, I mean, to me at least, it said, you know, okay, I see a dog, I'm going to be a dog, but I'm still me. As if like I was in a dream world and I said, I'm going to make myself a dog and I become a dog. I'm still Reggie, but I'm a dog.
Okay, and at this moment, you're just sort of gazing out the semi-translucent white Viber 5 dome, and out at the edge of the clearing.
Don't say it's that thing.
Take a look at the screen that I'm sharing.
No.
Yeah, it's that. You know what? Those. Now, I haven't really done it justice because what's depicted on the screen here is actually more clear and refined than what you see. Those mists and fogs are both in front of it and behind it, and they're constantly moving. So you catch glimpses of this thing and then not, and then part of it and then not. And it seems to be standing still at about exactly 100 meters right at the edge of the forest. And it seems to be humanoid. And it's just staring in the direction of the dome.
Reggie's general bowel health sort of releases. not in a way that releases anything per se, just like something drops in his general gastrointestinal region. But he regains his composure. If I may be so bold. Oh God.
I mean,
you haven't done these scans. You see this? You see this?
I do. I mean, it's hard to see anything through the atmosphere. I mean, that could be the native mimic, or I mean, that could be one of the signs. I mean,
I can't imagine it's a scientist just existing out there.
Well, but if it was taken over, I mean, Reg, I don't know. I mean,
all right. This is going to sound crazy, but I think we should try to contact it.
I mean, it's just staring over here. I mean, it must have some.
Oh, Dan, can you?
You know what? Wait, just then, Nash said it's just staring, and he pointed out, and it's gone.
Come on, man. Dan, do you have some sort of exterior audio capabilities whereas we can project our own voices outside of there? Dome thing.
I mean,
tell to come back.
Yeah, I do possess an input-output interface panel with all manner of standardized attachments and electronic protocols. It simply has to do with finding the right hardware and finding the right cable. Okay. I'm sure that we have and you've already been through the storage room. There is a selection of cables of all types for hooking up the machinery to Dan and Dan himself and the robot, and being able to interface with the stereo system and the Tri-D video system and all of that kind of shit. So there's a lot of cables and wires and adapters, and you can hook most of these machines up to other ones.
Oh my God.
Hey, Rich, what about this?
So there's a microphone on the Tri-D recorder, and there are two big speakers in the common room. So there's really nothing preventing you from hooking up that microphone and speakers any way you want and setting them anywhere you want.
Is there an electric guitar and or synthesizer?
There is in fact an electric guitar.
What were those notes from that movie from 70 billion years ago?
Well, but wait. So remember we powered the robot down, right? No. I feel you. I don't remember. I don't remember. Yeah. That's it. I think that's it.
That was it.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Look. So we disabled the robot, right? Because the robot's broken. What if we put it outside and turn it back on and just point it at to the woods, just to the edge of the clearing and see what happens?
That's good. We're doing science stuff. That's very good.
Well, I mean, it's low risk for us, and we'll see whether or not it attacks it or not.
Yeah, I think this is good. No, that's very good. All right, let's do it.
All right. I'm assuming we left it kind of like in the hallway there. I mean, we didn't. Oh, actually, I guess we hooked it up to Dan. So I guess it's in the room with us.
It's in the command room. Yeah, with Dan.
Okay. So I guess it's got wheels. So I guess we just push it back out into the airlock.
Okay. Now you had just before shutting it down, you had passed your X Investments identity card in front of its sensors, and it had stopped whirling around. So remember, it was shouting, "Identify, identify." Mm-hmm. Well, you have identified, and you haven't, as far as I know, tampered with its memory. So when it comes up, it should still recognize you, and it will not be psychotic.
Okay.
I will train my weapon upon it just in case.
Good plan.
Okay. I am ready.
All right.
So
Reggie, at the ready. I'm gonna start saying that. Is that okay? If I say ready,
like
at the ready.
That's not bad.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll see how it sounds. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, let's try it as we're going.
I'm sure little Kim will probably hate it, but maybe she has a better suggestion.
You might not want to know what she calls you.
Maybe I do want to know what she calls me.
We are going to want an electronics roll from Nash.
All right.
And this is actually easy. You only have to beat a 2.
All right. I got a 6.
Yeah, you managed to get the robot turned on again, and what?
It makes it all the way to the edge of the clearing without getting snagged on a log. It doesn't fall over. It doesn't get stuck in a hole.
All right. Okay.
Nice.
This is kind of like that thing where you have to word the perfect wish when a genie gives you a wish, right?
Yeah, that's good. That's a very good way to put that.
All right, the bot rolls out to the edge of the clearing. It's really dark right now. The light from the dome itself is really about the only light there is, except for once in a while off in the distance there's a glint of deep blue or green, and then it's gone again. You don't see anything that looks humanoid out here, but the air itself is so thick and so slowly moving around, it is really easy to project shadows and optical illusions, especially with all those trees out in the background. It's eerie just being out here. And the bot is standing there at the edge of the clearing, just sort of spinning its head left to right. And it is eerily silent. And nothing is happening.
He's doing great.
You keep thinking is that something? No, that can't be anything. And that happens over and over again.
All right. We pop the scanner. Pop the scanner. Pop it.
All right. Yeah. Dan, can you queue up a scan?
Activating scanners now. Okay, you hear a slight buzz. Some lights flash on Dan's console. You don't see anything, but a monitor begins reporting inside room 2, showing the results of the atmospheric scan.
Oh, I thought you meant inside room 2. There was something.
No,
fire away!
What I'm saying is, you guys are standing in the airlock, looking out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't see it, but there's a printout happening on Dan's screen in room 2.
You want to go get it? You want to go take a peek? I'll keep looking out the window. He'll probably understand it better than I would.
Sure. All right. So Nash runs over to the control panel.
Reggie keeps staring out the window at the bot.
Okay, you're looking at this a series of lines that print out as jiggly, once in a while, jiggly lines across a moving grid, and you're zoomed way back on it. So there's this large empty area that represents the last 2 days, and it's kind of like looking at an audio wave moving as you're editing it, right? So it's scrolling by, but you're zoomed out so far that you can clearly see the blank area. And on the other side of the blank area, you see a series of scans. And if you're doing your math right, because they're all time logged, it looks like these scans happened during those 2 hours when Dan had no memory of anything happening. So it seems as though Mentaka had been shutting Dan off, running scans, and then activating Dan again. And these gaps in Dan's memory, he was literally powered down without knowing it. Which, by the way, is potentially dangerous because he also maintains the air circulation and life support systems.
Right. Does the current scan show anything inbound, moving around, anything like that?
No, they're just minor oscillations, which are that just means mists are floating around, and sometimes it's more concentrated in this area, yielding a higher probability of life form, but then that reading disappears a second later, and so it's
sure. So he runs back over to Reggie. He's like, Reg, so as I'm looking at the thing, and it looks like Mentaka was turning Dan off, but he was scanning while he was powered down. I mean, powered down. I mean, shit, the airlock, the life support, everything. I mean, Dan runs everything. He was shutting them in for like 2 hours at a time.
What could the possible reason for that be?
I mean, do you think
this guy's a bozo?
Well, but maybe if he thought that the mimic could mimic a human, that if he got the crew replaced and took them back to X Investments, that they could, I don't know, weaponize it, maybe?
Are you suggesting? Wait a second. What would he do with the crew?
Well, the crew the mimic eats the crew and becomes the crew.
You're suggesting this man allowed his whole crew to be consumed? Or killed off, or maybe hated it in some way?
I mean, would you be surprised?
At this point, no. But I mean, that's a hell of a thing. I mean, that's a leap that I hadn't gotten to yet. But I'm not saying it's incorrect. That's. Oh God!
Look, I mean, X Investments.
Implications.
I mean, Bento said they miss more than they hit, right? But when they hit big. And there's got to be a way from them to fund that, right? I mean, we know they've got government contracts and shit. I mean, they're practically untouchable. Like,
all right. So what do we do? So let's do this. Let's operate on the assumption that this man was turning off this main AI for the purposes of doing something in that vein. What is our next step to either get the hell out of here, or how do we show? I mean, is the report that Dan was turned off as often as he was, without Dan knowing, enough to say, hey, funkiness is going on, you need a bigger team with a more sinister intent than just you and I?
I mean, it depends on whether or not X Investment is complicit, right? I mean, that's
complicit. Why did they allow this to happen? Why are we here if this is what they wanted? Oh my God! Do they want us to be? Have we been put up as? Reggie looks outside the window again. We've just been. Oh my God! How deep does this go? Does Bento want to get rid of us? Are we supposed to be mimics? Reggie,
you haven't been doing that zoom, have you?
I better have, because if I don't, not the zoom, the nappy, the Napa Depracil.
Yeah. You need some Chromonapracil.
Chromonapracil, yeah.
Yeah, I said zoom because you sound pretty fucking paranoid right now.
Look,
well, I'm sort of feeling a little paranoid, disembodied voice in my head at the beginning.
All right, so look, here's the thing. I mean, if we want to do due diligence, we go out to the ship. Maybe we could figure out what happened. Maybe Mentaka, maybe he sabotaged the ship, knowing that they would send someone else out to give him time to do whatever it is he's going to do, and then be like, "Oh, hey, it's me. Let's go back. I'm a real person or whatever. And here's my dog that's not a dog." Look, I mean, maybe they're still out there alive. I mean, we can't wander around out here.
No, I don't want to wander around here. If we're going to go and we're going to hit the ship, let's go hit the ship.
I mean, Dan, can you tell us exactly where the ship is?
Certainly. He pulls up a map, and you see it's to the northeast of here, north by northeast, and it's like 120 meters away. So it's about 20 meters outside of the clearing.
You know, Reggie reaches over and he taps the printout that Nash is holding. You know, I wonder if Dan, and then
it's a holograph. It's a
holograph. He taps the holograph and his hand goes through it and it dissipates and then it doesn't. and he goes, you know what? I feel like I need to. Hey, Dan.
Yes, Reg.
Do you know that Dr. Mentaka turned you off without you knowing?
It is theoretically possible to shut me down in any number of ways.
Your theories and hypotheses have been so good and well constructed that I'm wondering what you think about that. What would be the possible reason why someone wouldn't want you, an ever-present, ever-pervasive AI controlling every system in this facility, to be turned off?
It could be that it wants my logging activities to cease, at least for a period of time.
Is there any conceivable reason why anything but a sinister intention would be present in that situation? Basically, you know what? Let me reword that. I'm sorry, Dad. I'm trying so hard to keep up with your language. Is there any benefit?
The feeling is mutual, Reg.
I know it's hard to dumb down for me. I'm sorry. Is there any benefit to your logging capabilities being disabled?
It would mean that data returned to X investments would include gaps in the record, which would probably be overlooked.
That's good information. I feel like that's good information. Okay. Well, now we have a new possibility that Mentaka went rogue.
I mean, I guess it's possible.
Dan agrees that although, you know, correlation does not necessarily imply causation.
Yes.
It is within the realm of possibilities that Dr. Mentaka was acting outside of the protocols of the mission orders. That might explain the behavior you describe.
Okay. He's possibly a madman. Okay. I don't think anything's changed. I think we go to the ship.
I mean, it's clear sailing from here to the edge of the woods, right? And then it's only another 20 meters.
Pretty much.
I think we get a length of rope. We tie each other together. That way neither one of us gets lost.
Yeah.
We make it out to the ship. We go in hot. We check it out. We take video. Maybe we could pull up the computer on board and see if there's any logs there. See if we can find out whether or not, the ship was intentionally sabotaged. Like maybe just visually we can see that.
Maybe we could fix it.
I think that's beyond our scope. I mean, we have a way out of here.
Probably.
And if anybody were alive, they can come with us. I mean, salvage is not our purview.
All right. Well, let's set it for what? 10 minutes? You want Dan to do a scan in about 10, and then we hoof it?
Well, so if it's only 120 meters, it's not all that far. What do you think? Like 2 minutes?
Sure.
We get into the airlock. We get washed off.
Yeah, in my mind, it'd be like, hey, when we're ready to go, we say, hey, Dan, why don't you pop that off in about 35 seconds? And then we just go.
All right. Yeah, no, that works. That works. Good call.
Because we're going double time, right? That's my assumption. Unless you want to try to be stealthy, which is also good.
You will spend 10 to 15 seconds in the airlock.
I mean, I guess that works. I mean, that's not. They probably don't come immediately, right?
No, I mean, unless they're already there. I imagine there is a bit of a lead time. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, 30 seconds from maybe the time we hit the airlock. I mean, if it's got to take some time for the signal to pulse out and draw these things in.
Sure.
Gives us about 20 seconds to beat feet.
Yeah, I mean, how far? I mean, okay. Out of character, you said 120 meters?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not that far, right?
360 feet?
Yeah, a little over 360, maybe.
Oh, God, we can sprint there. We got this.
400 feet.
All right, cool. Yards. Wait, yards. All right. It's like, okay, I can do football field. Right, I'm on top of it.
Okay. So 120 yards is 120 meters and 120. It's pretty close.
Yes. Yeah, right. Okay, I like it. Is it okay that I treat your out of character GM voice as an internal monologue in Reggie's mind?
I was going to say earlier that I love the fact that I've got a player character here whose head is such a mess that I literally might just be a voice.
Player character's head is a mess. You know me so well.
It's not at all surprising to find Reggie having dialogues with himself anyway.
Yeah.
So I could be one of them.
So Nash, I feel like Nash is just used to it, and it's all good. It never really does manifest as any real. But yeah, okay, yeah, okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I believe if we go back through the record, we can find many instances of Reggie talking to himself as though he was more than one person.
Right.
All the time.
Reggie responding to you. Yeah, it was semi.
No, I've seen you do it to yourself.
Right. I love Reggie so much. That's a John thing. I just love playing this guy. All right. So where do we land?
I watched you talk yourself in and out of things in this all by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my process. So where do we land? 50 seconds? What was good seconds?
No. So as we enter, he can't stand to 35.
Okay.
So we're going to spend 15 seconds in the airlock. Gives us 20 seconds to start making our way out. I don't think when he starts to scan, it's going to be an immediate response. So
no, you're right.
If it takes us a minute or two to get out there, maybe by that time the pulse hits them and starts drawing them towards the dome. Now
you're not going to be running at linebacker speed.
Yeah.
I mean, the ground is.
Hey, speak for yourself. I was a linebacker in futuristic high school, sort of.
No, that's exactly my point. The ground out here is, it's pretty level, but it is covered in like that wet moss.
Okay, all right.
It's kind of indigo purple in color.
That's why I figured it's going to take us a few minutes to get out there, even at like a jog.
At least if he pops it off shortly after we get out there, we can expect that even if they're hostile and they pursue, hopefully they get sort of drawn or thrown off by the scan.
Yeah.
All right, I like it.
All right, Captain Nash, give me the countdown.
Captain Nash will get you by the night. Yes.
Well, so before that, we check the weapons, make sure, rounds in the chamber, everything's ready to go. We find a hunk of rope. We tie 10 feet. We want some maneuver room, maybe 20 feet.
There's very quick pull-ins to the cocking of guns, tying of knots, and then there's did we already do this? There's the whole alien and muscles. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Dan, we're hitting the airlock now. 3.
Okay, I'm actually wondering if you have rope. You probably don't, but what you do have is like 30 feet of electrical cable.
That works.
Yeah. Tying of cable.
Yeah. Yeah, we jump in the airlock. Nash hits the button.
All right. The air pressure changes. It grows a little less dense. There's this sucking sound that happens for a few seconds, and then the outer doors, green light goes on. You can open the outer doors at any time.
Nash hits the button. Weapon
All right,
up.
outer doors slide open. In rolls the blue and green mist swirling around you.
Oh, it's so pretty.
And out in the distance, you can see the bot. You can see actually the light on the top of the bot's head. Its head is going round and round, not real fast, but just round and round in circles. It's not doing anything. It's just spinning its head around.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So
good luck, soldier.
So Nash immediately drifts to the left. I assume Reggie drifts to the right. So we're not running. So like the cord is completely stretched.
Yeah, right.
But it's
Like
also not going to like catch
7
on the
yards apart. Yeah.
Okay, now let me return to the map for a second here. Okay, so when you open the airlock, you're facing west.
Okay.
Okay, and you want to go northeast to where the ship is. I'm assuming though that the bot went pretty much straight out to the west, which is why you can see it when you open the door.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. So we'll follow the curve of the dome to get back around to the northeast, and then once we, I assume Dan has given us the location. We can enter that on our GPS, and then kind of follow the dome around and then shoot straight out.
Yeah, you actually have a map that was shot from your drone earlier, showing the entire clearing, so you could overlay your current position on that.
Okay, yeah, then we would do that.
Okay, and out we go. It is even on the dark planet of Drir, there are nights and days. The length of a day is 42.5 Earth hours. Well, it is the middle of the night right now, so it's darker than it was when you guys first landed. There's a lot of black in among the green and blue. And as you guys move out, you've got lights on your helmets, and there's the sort of foggy ambient light emitting from the translucent walls of the Vidome itself. So it feels a little bit like being underwater, like at the bottom of the ocean, right? Dark blues and greens swirling around you all the time. And if you get further than 10 feet away from each other, it's hard to see facial features.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I assume we can see like the helmet lights and the red dots on the.
Yeah, you can see those. You can see the bright little lights on each other, but like at a distance of 10 feet, you should be able to know who you're looking at. Mm-hmm. You can't. You can just tell there's a human in there. It's just blurry. The air is always moving.
Right.
So just keep moving.
So Nash just he says to Reggie through the helmet comm thing, he's like, "Hey, pull off for a second. Keep a lookout. Let's tighten this cord up. And keep us right at 10 feet."
Got it.
And Nash just pulls it up and just puts like a big loop in it, just to keep it from dragging on the ground and keep us a little bit closer together.
Mm.
All right. As you guys move out through the clearing, you do in fact see the Delphina. It is nose down in the moss, and it's already covered with lots and lots of fungus and vegetation.
Fuck, that didn't take long.
Yeah, it's been here. It's been here 4.5 days.
Okay.
5.5 days. Right?
I wonder what's keeping that clearing around the dome then.
There's something moving on the ground at the tail end of the Delphina. You both get a visual on it, and I'll be damned if that isn't a dog. It's dark blue in color. It's hard to see. It seems to emanate a low amount of dark blue light from its surface. It is You recall the video that you watched, the Tri-D video back in the dome. You saw the guy playing with the dog, and the dog was a boxer. And this has the shape of a boxer.
Oh, man.
But it's blue, and it has no facial features, and its mouth is just kind of a grim line.
Do we take it? Do we take it down? I have a shot. I
don't want to. Fuck, I don't want to kill a dog, but it's not really. I mean,
what if we just give it a chance to not be hostile?
Okay, you guys are at the nose end of the ship, and it's at the tail end of the ship, watching you. And it's not like, yeah, it's moving. It's moving a little bit. It clearly doesn't want to come too close, but it's curious about you.
All right. Shit.
I mean, I guess.
I kind of want to contact it. I kind of want to.
Don't touch it. Just whatever you do, don't touch it. We don't know how this thing does.
That's a very good point. We don't know anything. We know almost nothing.
I mean,
thanks to Dr. Mentaka.
Well, yeah. I mean, it kind of looks like his dog would look if it was blue.
I kind of just, I'm just. All right. What if we just get inside the ship and just pay it no mind, or we'll just kind of like do a thing where we say, okay, hi, puppy. And then we just go in the ship.
Yeah, let's make in for the ship.
Okay. Hi, doggy. Good puppy. And then we go in the ship.
All right. The on the side of the vessel, there is a slot for you to enter your ident card. When you do, the door slides open. There's a really bad smell in here. You can't smell because of your suits, but your atmospheric sensors light up your HUDs.
Oh God!
This place is filled with thick, spongy air. It's warm and humid, and it's warmer than the outside air. It's actually cold outside, but it's warm in here.
Oh, did he stitch the bodies here? Did he stitch the fucking bodies?
Several of the windows are smashed open. There is a hole in the left front part of the hull, which comes into the cockpit. Wherever the pilot was sitting is blasted. It looks like some onboard system exploded. And the fire started in the cockpit.
Oh, shit.
Meanwhile, it also means that the hull is not hermetically sealed, and so layers and layers of fungus and molds have grown in here, and the air is probably thick with spores.
Well, this is unfortunate.
Well, let me see if I can't get the computer up. I don't know if it blew the whole console. Maybe we might be able to pull something out of here, but this looks like why it went down.
Reggie does Overwatch while Nash is doing this, just watching everything but what Nash is doing.
So Nash would move to so if it exploded in the pilot seat, which is on the left, American car, he goes all the way to the right to see, if he can pull up a computer, see if anything still has power.
All right, give me an electronics roll and beat 6.
Oof. Jeez. I got a 6.
Bam!
All right. This is a yes, but you get the computer online, but the power keeps shorting out, and you have to keep adjusting the level of power you're feeding to it because you don't actually have a reliable power source. You've got a cable from your suit, and you're leeching off a little bit of extra power, but you're doing this manually. And if you don't line up the contacts perfectly, the system goes down again. So it keeps going up and down as you're trying to hold this wire still. The computer launches up. It's a female voice. It says, "Greetings, Mr. Nash of X Investments. My name is Delphina. It seems our ship has... Power went out.
Shit. Fuck. He casts around the cabin to see if there's a portable power source, like a generator that maybe they hadn't taken over to the dome, see if there's anything that he can kind of jury rig inside.
It looks like they stripped everything except a first aid kit, because there are other first aid kits inside the dome. But all of their personal shit and all of their equipment and all the cabinets here are empty.
Okay. All right.
Reggie. By the way, while Nash is doing that, Reggie, you notice that yes. You notice that there's a big hole in the hull on the port side of the ship, and there's this greenish mold, slimy mold growing in through there. Well, you see it move. It's literally growing while you watch it.
I watch it very intently.
It's moving very slowly. It's like, molasses dripping down an incline, but it is definitely growing.
So, Nash,
you figure at this rate, I mean, it's already in and covering a lot of the surfaces inside this ship. And this is a 6-man ship, so it's the size of like a medium-sized city bus, right? Mm-hmm. You figure at this rate, you give it 2-3 weeks, it'll be completely filled with mold.
God. Nash, just a little heads up that green mold is definitely moving and actively growing. It is interesting and fascinating, but also a little unsettling.
Hostile? Is it trying to grab you?
I don't think it's doing that yet. I'm just sort of watching it and giving you the heads up. I wonder if it is. Is it trying to grab me?
No, it's spreading like a growing puddle of ooze.
Man, can you imagine if they were able to get a sample of this and sort of engineer it or deconstruct it to sort of figure out its growing capabilities? I wonder if we should get something for Bento.
I mean, maybe. I mean, if it was used can you imagine how much food you could grow if you could make that safe to?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if Bento would give a shit about that. Maybe we shouldn't give him this.
Well, either way.
I'm sorry, I did it.
No, I got the computer up, but it doesn't have good power. If we come back here with a power source, we might be able to get some information out of the ship. It looks like they stripped most everything out of here.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if we want to make that trip again. I'm just... The computer's a viable option.
So maybe... All right, so can we get... Oh, God. So what do you want to go back to the facility, to the dome and get the power source?
Well, let's go through it. Let's clear it. I mean, it's not that big. Right. I mean...
No, we can... Yeah, totally. All right, maybe they got one on board.
I mean, we can check in the back to see. I mean, there's nothing up here for sure.
All right, we searched the ship.
You find nothing of interest on the ship, except for the computer itself.
Okay. So no bodies, no nothing like that.
Okay.
No.
All right. I mean, it depends on whether you think it's worth the risk.
Well, I don't know. Do you think it's worth the risk? What did you get at? Does the computer seem like it's got something worth making that risk?
I mean, it's got its logs, right? If we can transfer them over, then at least we'll have a record of what happened on the ship.
Right, so we don't have a significant enough ability. We don't have the ability to do that right now, is what you're saying?
No, I mean, I was pulling some of the juice from the suit, but you got to hold the wires just so, and it kept cutting contact. If I could hardwire it to something,
could I help? Would it help if I helped? Like, you tell me what to do, and maybe we can get through this together instead of having to go and try to find some sort of power source. Is there something I could do?
Yeah. So, Nash thinks about it, and he's like, I wonder if we strip this cable down, right? Like, we're wearing an electrical cable.
Hell yeah.
Can I cut off a hunk of the electrical cable to get like a more hardwired thing, and then just use power from the suit to run it?
It's a good thing we didn't have rope, huh?
Okay, so let's handle this as a roll. First off, do you want some help from Reggie, because he can help position things or hold things?
Yeah. That frees up my hands for him to just hold something.
Okay, so Reggie, this is an electronics roll which you don't have.
No.
So that means it's a brains roll.
Okay.
And
2 die for that.
you're at a -2 because you don't have the skill that you need.
I'll take it.
So that makes it very hard, and you're gonna have to roll a 6 on one of those.
Is this a slip ship?
Yeah.
I got a slip dynamics?
Yeah, it's not gonna help here.
Okay. Piloting? No? Okay. All right.
No, this is electronics.
I did not get a 6. I got a 3 and a 1.
Your highest is a 3.
Not over there. No. Push. You gotta.
But I thought you said
no.
I thought no. Oh,
I'm sorry, Nash. Now you have a -1 because Reggie got in the way.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not.
However, Reggie, you know what, Reggie? You made an experience point. Because you guys almost never get a no and. That was a no and.
No and.
I got a 2 and a 3. He leans down and I kind of step on him.
No.
Fuck.
Yeah,
this is not my proudest moment.
Now you made it worse. You cracked a panel that was supporting a part of the circuit board that's now loose. So now you have to hold the wires in just the right position, and you have to hold the circuit board in the right position, even to get a couple seconds of this computer online.
All right, so all of this goes away if we have a power source, though, right?
Well, yeah, I could probably.
No, you've actually broke it worse now.
Right.
I couldn't reconnect the circuit board or whatever. If we had time, could I get in and mess around with it, try to make it more stable, and then hook it up?
Give me a brains roll.
All right. Highest is a 5 straight.
The best you're going to be able to do is remove its remove its storage drive, and then try hooking it up to Dan or Regulus and see if they can read it.
All right. It's funny. I just looked up at the chat. Max said the same thing. Can't you just grab the computer core and take it back? Way to go, Max. You're third man on the team.
You're thinking, Max. You're thinking.
So, yeah.
That means that Max made his brains roll. Is what that means.
Yes. Yeah.
Honorary member of the team. He's like, fuck.
That's the voice. The chat is the voice in your head.
Yeah, right. So, Reg, this is what I'm thinking.
Tell me all the things in your mind.
Look, I don't.
Regis, I think I'll take a lifeline.
Look, I think we fucked it up.
Yeah, I definitely didn't help.
No,
I'm so sorry. No.
Look, it's fine. Look, if we just pull the core, we can't transfer the data anyway. Well, let's just pull the core. We could try to hook it up to Dan, or in lieu of that, we could hook it up to Reggie Jr.
Yes, thank you.
And then at least we have that data, right? So we know. So we'll have that data. We've got the data from Dan. We've got the notes. I don't know. We're not going to wander around on this fucking planet for some bitch and some corporate office somewhere.
Hell no, no, definitely not. I feel like this is good. Let's get the core, and then we'll see where we're at.
We'll see whether or not the dome is surrounded. For all we know, Dan's still running the scans.
I am fully assuming that the dome is in a state of duress.
Well, but the dog didn't attack. If we want to say dog, if it's still dog under there, but
a good watchdog doesn't attack right away.
Well,
that's just something I just made up about what I think a watchdog should be.
Well, be careful when we go back outside then.
Oh, first thing we find the dog.
And then, if you want to do a slow walk around just to make sure that there's no bodies outside. We know they made it to the dome, so I assume not. We've got video of them at the dome.
Yeah, I would have, if I did this, if I were to come here and want to get rid of my team, This would be the perfect place to stash them, would be this ship.
Well, there's nothing in the ship.
No, so I think we can probably just go back. If you'd like, I'll do a perimeter check.
I kind of feel like we should since we're here.
All right, perimeter check it is.
The whole clearing, you mean?
No, just around the
around the ship. Yeah.
Okay. You
do I
guys
need
go
to make a
outside. The dog has moved. The dog, quote unquote, has moved a little bit closer.
Oh shit! The dog's closer.
Yeah, it's watching the door where you guys went in.
Okay. Do we need to make a roll to pull the core or no before we get too far afield?
Yeah, just don't fuck up.
Oh Jesus!
Let me. So now that
let's call it an electronics roll and don't roll a 1 on everything.
Now the dog is closer. Do we get any more like information? Do we get any more sort of detailed look on how it looks?
Yeah, you. Now that you're a little bit closer, it's more like
it's just not a dog.
it's more like, okay, if you had a dark blue candle shaped like a dog, but then you left it in a warm room too long on a summer day.
Oh no!
It's kind of a wet-looking, blobby shape of a dog with no eyes and no nose, just the shape of these things.
You did dog wrong. You did it wrong.
Did you just say that out loud?
Oh God, did I?
Probably, yeah.
Probably if that's what Reggie sees and he walks out, he was like, "Oh God, you did dog wrong."
All right. As soon as you raise your voice at it, it turns into like a palm tree shaped thing that's got these barbed branches that all like open up as though it's threatening you with a giant blue mouth, and then it breaks into about 20 pieces, all of which fly away.
So Nash like turns around, like he's got I rolled a 6. So he's got the core, he's like stuffing it in a thing, and it turns into a palm tree, and he just like his eyes get real fucking big, and his gun starts to come down.
Maybe it really didn't do palm tree good, did it? I didn't get to say it did palm tree wrong. Now it's just gone. Reggie looks sort of flabbergasted. I mean, that was it, right? That was the mimic, of course. And now it's in pieces. Gone.
Is any of it still there?
They all flew away. They literally flew away like some sort of weird thing. It's like a half butterfly, half bird. It broke into 20 pieces and they all flew away.
The butterbirds all flew away. And I sort of feel a little bad about that. Was I too harsh? I mean, it did do dog bad.
So that was the dog turned into the like he just starts waving his hands
like dog bad. You did dog wrong, and that was its reaction to my words. I guess we just go. And just forget that ever happened. I feel terrible. I scolded the mimic dog, and it turned into a butterbird / palm tree evil demon thing.
Yeah, and you have to take palm tree really loosely because all I mean was it turned into a long trunk like thing that erupted into a bunch of spiky leaf like things. But to call it a palm tree would really be stretching the definition of palm tree. My point was that it opened this, I'm going to say mouth, in your direction in an attempt to threaten you. But in fact, it did that because you scared it, because then it ran away.
Damn it. Well, so, okay. I should probably not talk to, but I wanted to, if we just stayed a little bit longer, maybe we could have talked about it. I could have given it some pointers. Nash, I feel really bad about this. I don't know where to go from here. I'm sorry.
I think it understood what you were saying, which, I mean...
But I mean, like, you take criticism, right? You're like, you can have a criticism, you can take it, you can hear criticism, and just not fight.
Wait. Brains rolls, both of you.
Before you get too far afield.
Before you get too far afield. Yeah.
I got a 3. Nash was freaked out because it kind of looked like a plant. He's got bad memories.
My highest was 4.
Yeah. Okay. You're pretty sure upon reflection that it was really just, I mean, maybe the tone of your voice, but you don't think it understood what you said. You realize that this is the first time either of you has raised your voice. You've been talking very quietly the whole time you were out here, and when you're inside the dome, everything's muffled by the dome itself. So you kind of feel that it's simply raising your voice is what scared it. Remember, it's really, really quiet here.
Oh my god. Okay, I would... okay. All right, never mind. Let's just get back to the dome with the core. And I think if we come upon any more of these things, maybe if we speak softly to it, it will be nice, you know? Like, not hostile. Maybe?
Maybe. I mean, if you think it was because you kind of yelled at it, I mean, if we shoot
it... I really yell? I mean, I understand. But I really yell? I mean, I just sort of gave it a note.
But what I'm saying is, I mean, if you're saying...
Let's face it, Reggie, you ejaculated.
As I want to do.
No, but if we, if we had to shoot, we don't necessarily have to shoot them if it's a noise thing, right? I mean, just the loud noise would maybe be enough to...
How crazy do you think it would be to basically just like put our weapons away?
Don't be crazy, Reg.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, yes, that's good.
I hear what you're saying, but no.
I did it not? Okay, I didn't feel... Okay, you know what? I'm sort of getting off on the thing here because of my natural, my natural predilection, I guess, to like want to not impede on this indigenous environment. But I think we go with the core and we go.
All right, let's head back.
All right. It is definitely quiet and cold on the way back, and you encounter nothing. You see shape-shifting shapes.
Reggie takes that to heart, by the way, that he just scared that thing off.
Really?
I mean, I feel really bad about it.
Just curious.
I'm thinking about, as we're walking back, I'm thinking about it more. Maybe it did the whole dog thing to be more appealing, to be like less of a threat. And I just yelled at it, Nash. But it yelled at it.
But it ate the dog, Reg, right? I mean,
I don't know. Did it? I didn't eat the dog. Or did the dog just die because this stupid idiot put the dog out in this corrosive atmosphere? And the dog probably died because of the neglect of this man.
Reggie, the dog was in the dome. The dog was fine.
But, okay, maybe I missed. How do we know these things eat the things that they become?
I'm just supposing. I don't know. We have to assume the worst. I mean, we did see some of that blue slime, which looks like what they're made out of on Dan, remember?
I have to at least entertain the possibility that X Investments has evil in their heart.
I mean, clearly it's a megacorp.
All megacorps have evil in their heart.
I just assume so.
I just wanted to get it on record. Oh, God.
Right,
turning into an animal.
So let's say you're back at the dome now.
I was gonna say, as we approach
We
the
are
dome,
back at the dome now.
Okay, and there's nothing outside.
No encounters along the way.
I mean, you want to go in and see if something stopped by for a visit?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming. I mean, Dan did the scan, so
yeah, we can check with him and see if anything showed itself.
Yeah.
All right, and then I think we head back over to the Viper, and we've got to try to get a signal upstream to Bento.
Yeah. We're gonna have to check in. Absolutely.
All right, we roll into the airlock.
All's good. You're inside.
All right, push the button for the decon.
Are you contacting Bento?
I think we were gonna at least cursorily investigate the dome again, just to see if.
Okay, all right. You're through the airlock. You're inside.
Okay, and then roll into room 2 to talk to Dan. See, did the scan show anything? Did anything approach the dome? Did anything enter the dome?
Dan reports that nothing came within 100 meters of the dome while you were away.
All right. I mean, I guess they could have been watching us, I suppose.
Yeah, maybe they just... Yeah, I don't know. It's just speculation now. All right, well, can we do anything with the core with Dan?
Do we have some way to transfer from Dan back? If not, it's probably best just to do it.
Oh, maybe we do it in the ship. Yeah, right.
On the ship.
Okay. I'm on board.
Unless, Todd, did we find... I know we transferred the data from the robot to Dan. Is there some way to transfer from Dan to our ship? I know we didn't have a not a hacker's kit, but electronics kit. You'd ask, clearly we didn't have that. Is there some way? Did we find anything in the dome? Thumb drive kind of stuff where we could transfer things, or can we burn a CD? Is that still a thing?
What data is it? What data are you attempting to transfer?
So we had the data from the robot that we transferred to Dan. Dan wasn't able to interpret it. It was all scrambled.
Right. And there's one file at the end of that, which is encoded in a different way than the whole rest of the file.
Right. And then we have all of Dan's records that, Nash would like to compile and take as well.
Right. I think we can assume that you can get that to the ship's computer. What would be beyond your skills would be transferring system from one computer to another, but this is just data files is all it is.
Yeah. I don't know, Reg, what do you think? Maybe Dan can help us interpret whatever he might find on the ship's computer?
I would be pleased to assist you, Jack. I am programmed to be helpful and friendly.
Well, that's a relief. And yeah, of course, I would like to give Dan a crack at it, as well as Reggie Jr.
All right. Dan,
let's see what Dan can do.
We've got the ship's computer. It was spotty at best. We couldn't get good power to it, but let me hook it up to you and see if you can interpret the data for us.
While he's working, what do you say is the possibility of being able to rip Dan, the instance of Dan, and just sort of have? I mean, I like Dan.
Well, first off, it's beyond your skills, but
my skill definitely.
Next off, it's a different operating system than your ship has.
Oh, but I just to maybe I could burn a CD of Dan. Anyway, anyway, what? How did you do, Dan?
Well, you could definitely contact the data analyzing neuronet people and see if you could buy a copy of Dan 734.
Doesn't the data analyzing neuronet people work for Somnambula?
Reg, I don't know.
All these megacorps are starting to make me sick. They all own each other. They all buy and sell each other. And they all control each other. It's time to burn it all down. And oh, never mind. So, sorry, Dan.
Are you still with me, Reg?
I'm fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. The more of these things we go on, the more of my psyche sort of takes on. Never mind. We're just going to leave it alone.
Okay. And Dan says, "Thank you, Reg. I was having difficulty parsing your narrative intention."
As was I.
In the meanwhile, let's get a roll from Nash to hook that drive up.
I will not be helping you this time.
Well, that's good because I got a 6 total. You just kind of like waves, like you step in, and I'm like, no.
You're right. Yep,
fine, I got it.
Yep.
Okay, so this is a yes, and you do manage to hook it up to Dan, and
he's able to pull together the fragmentary records that are encoded into the ship,
and we win.
Okay, and Dan tells you he's reading out the stats from the ship's log, and there was no time for anyone to make a recording or a log entry, but there are some automated entries that to him seem to indicate a sudden engine seizure of the atmospheric engine, which caused the ship to go down, and then many other systems went offline at one time, suggesting a possible fire in the cockpit. However, this is interesting, says Dan. According to the mission protocols and records that were under seal for for Dr. Mentaka's eyes only, this was a follow-up mission to a mission run 3 months previous.
Motherfucker.
What?
Son of a bitch. I told you, Reggie. I fucking told you.
I mean, I don't know why I'm surprised. I really shouldn't be. So who was on that follow-up mission? Was it Mentaka? It was Mentaka again. You just said that, right?
I have no indication of any details on the previous mission. However, the timestamp on the input of the node coordinates predates this mission by 94 days.
All right, let's just hold on, Nash. So the last time this happened, we presented the situation.
In other words, they knew exactly where they were going, and they were returning to an address they already knew 3 months ago.
Right,
so it's everything that Nash was afraid of.
Right, everything. Right, but like we've been faced with this sort of situation where we're not getting all the information being sent into a scenario that we're not prepared for. And what was Bento's reaction? Remind me the last time this happened, how he responded.
I mean,
do you remember?
Bento said he's got our back. I mean, I told him that. I mean, you were there. I mean, he said we're not going to do business like this. I mean, if this is the customer that he wants to bring on board, then I'm out. I'm not. This ends today. We're done. This mission is over.
If there's a chair, Reggie just kind of like collapses into the chair. I feel like we're being pushed away. I feel like we have no other choice but to just look. This is a farce. Am I right? Why? Rescue mission?
So, I mean, I think she's playing fast and loose with the truth, clearly. I mean, I guess this is how, these big corps run. I mean, the people don't matter as long as they get their results. If She thought we could rescue people, then so be it. If that's the case, then they get what they're after. Whatever information that they sent this follow-up. I mean, clearly they knew this thing was here. They were coming back to get it, and I think it got out of hand. I mean, as far as we know, there's no other structure. She said there was no structures, no sentient life. There's nowhere for them to be unless they weren't taken over by these creatures. I mean, that thing looked like the dog.
So, okay, that's fine. Now I know this is only probably this is the second time something like this has happened, right?
This is the third time
the
with
third
extraterrestrials.
time. At what point do you and I decide that Bento is in on it?
I think Bento's looking for the bottom line. I mean, we've got Scylla's business. I know he's been working on some other stuff, and this day tripping is new for dark matter. I mean, like, we're it, right? Like, we're the fucking crew. And
but this isn't day tripping.
I mean, in a matter of speaking, I mean, you're not gonna send, Susie in the office or.
God damn it,
Sally! Look,
oh boy,
Red.
You know what I mean. They're not just going to send anybody. I mean, you have to pilot a slip ship to get us there. I mean, we're in free space, but like it's still a jump. I mean, like we're the crew, like the six of us. Like this is it. Like,
oh yeah, the only other way to reach this planet would be a generation ship.
Holy shit! Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you for that. A lot of times my scope of these things is skewed. John,
no, you are many hundreds of light years from Earth.
Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. I suppose.
I mean, I think he's looking out for dark matter. I mean, I feel like he's behind us. Although he dropped the ball with me early, but I guess there's nothing. I mean, that's water under the bridge now.
Hold on, before I say this, this is the NDA thing, right?
Well, so we couldn't go back and discuss this with anybody other than Bento,
right?
Because they will sue you to death.
Exactly. All right. Unto death, I think was the actual term. Unto death. All right, we're under an NDA. First,
yes.
That pisses me off anyway. I signed it because this is what Bento wanted, and we're in with Bento.
Did you even read it? I mean, you just.
I mean, what is there to even read? It's just a bunch of shit. I don't understand half of what Dan is saying. I'm going to read a document. No, I work for Dark Matter. You are my commander. I signed the NDA. This is for the company. This is for us. But so we can't talk about this with anyone but Bento. So we're going to go back and we're going to go sit in front of Bento. We're going to say the same thing we said before, 2 times before. And I just don't know. I mean, like, what, a 4th time?
No, this doesn't happen again. Not with us, not with them.
There's nothing stopping him from accepting something like this and putting his best man on the job, so to speak. And who would we be at that point to say no?
Well,
the leader of this fucking squad.
You guys both have military backgrounds, so it's not as though being placed in dangerous positions under sometimes draconian and political, strategies. It's not totally new to you.
But it's exactly what got me in trouble when I was kicked out the first time.
And what led to Nash's breakdown.
So I guess what I'm saying is, why do we keep doing this to ourselves? We do it to ourselves, Nash.
So out of character, Todd. I mean, this type of thing has affected both characters specifically, severely in both cases, I believe. It's the principle.
I think at this point, you guys probably have a running conversation about becoming your own boss.
Oh shit.
Well, maybe. I mean, but again, out of character. Nash was very specific with Bento that we're not going to be put in a situation like this, like we are now again. I mean, the other ones was tangentially, it sort of fell under our purview, right? Like we couldn't have known anything about the sisters or whatever, and that was because Scylla wanted fruits, whatever. This is specifically.
If you want to think through this straight, which I imagine you're trying to do. Okay, in the first case, you guys did go outside of the safe zone. All right,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They knew there was a safe zone, and it was marked, and you went outside of it.
Right.
Okay, so you can't really blame X Investments for that.
No, I'm not.
In the second case, yes, things on Caladina were getting out of hand, but it seemed like they had only gotten out of hand really recently, like within 2 weeks, and nobody knew exactly how bad it was, except the doctor who had disappeared.
But in Nash's line of thinking, so Nash is the guy, the guys are the most important, especially after before. So, we go up to the control room and the guy's like, fuck that guy, find the doctor. Like, I don't give a shit about the guy on the ground that I already sent to go find her. Like, that doesn't fly. Like, fuck you, no way. That doesn't work.
We still have him. We have him though, right? Don't we?
He's still with Red.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
He was saved thanks to us and not anybody else.
But we've got him like in our pocket, sort of, right?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
So in Nash's mind, this is just like, fuck you. This is not how I do business. This is not how you put my people in jeopardy, because Nash is culpable for everything on the planet. So if something goes wrong, it's Nash's fault, and it's being taken out of his control because I'm not going to tell you what I know. So
okay. Here's what you imagine Bento saying back. You imagine that Bento would say, "You were sent here to search and rescue. You were not sent here to do combat, although that's always a possibility. You were not sent here to solve a murder mystery. You were not sent here to do any kind of electronics work. You're sent here to find anyone who survived and bring them back. Above and beyond that," and I believe if you read the NDA carefully, you'll probably see this has been legally stipulated. You're at risk, legally, for any actions you take outside the scope of the mission you were assigned.
That's fine. I mean, that's fine. I'm on board with that. It's not the first time something like that. We can't talk about things that we used to do. I've tried to forget most of them, but...
Well, it's not only that. It's if you step outside of the mission you've agreed to perform, you will get no support.
So we've already broken the end. We've already broken the mission parameters, and correct. I mean, that's
as far.
I wouldn't say you've broken them in any overt way, but if you contact Bento and start talking to him about, Reggie's conspiracy theories.
Oh no!
Bento is going to say, "Look, you were sent out here to search and rescue, and everything else it just has to stay quiet. That's what you agreed to."
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take this back.
Coffee time. You guys talk amongst yourselves a bit.
Oh, we will. All right, Nash, we're going to take this back to Bento. Okay? The mission is over. I mean, it's not if you say it's not. But this is why we were here. There's no one left. If anyone's left, they're a mimic, And if you're right, they're eaten. Let's take this back to Bento.
I think so. I mean, Bento's under the same agreement. I mean,
we're no strangers to this situation. If he can't, it might be unfair for us to even put that on him, to say situations like this are not acceptable.
Well,
I mean,
what exactly do you mean by like this, though? I mean, there's no indication that Blanche knew Mintaka would do what he did.
But she knew that there was a mission here before, and when we specifically said, "Is there anything else you need to say?" She said, "Nope, we found this place 4 days ago. We don't know anything about it."
Correct.
Like, that's bullshit.
That was a flat out lie. Yes.
That's what's got Nash's ire up, because this is the kind of stuff that puts people in jeopardy, and this is the kind of stuff where she's like, "Oh, I don't know if I trust Red anymore because, you know, she keeps fucking up." And it's like, well, you don't tell her what the mission is. Like, Nash is hot right now. I'm hot. I'm sweating right now.
I hear you. But do you think you're in any more danger than you would have been if you knew the whole time?
I feel like that might not be the point, though.
It's not the point. It's the principle of the thing.
I think it's like if she admitted that, there was a mission before, there'd be more information. Like, give us the information. What happened on that mission? We don't know. But if she knows, and that could have helped us rescue some people. But why did she keep it from us?
Yeah. What's the? I mean,
and again, it's not.
This is a lot of character. I don't.
But I'm talking in character because.
Well,
God damn it! All it does is leave it open for speculation. Is all I'm saying. Something happened before. So why couldn't we have just known? Because she didn't have to tell us. Is that it? If that's it, I mean, what is that?
Well, she did literally say you'd be on a need-to-know basis.
Exactly. So,
look, Reg, I don't like it, and it kind of weirds me out when you start like talking to somebody that's not.
No, I know.
I've never flaked on me. Like, I get it. It's fine. Like, I trust you and everything, but it still kind of throws me sometimes.
I know. I'm sorry. I did get a little. You know what? I sense that you're also at that point. So you know what? Maybe to some degree, your level-headedness keeps me grounded.
It kind of gets me talking. It's a whole weird thing. It's a whole weird.
There's like another person here, isn't there? You see it. You hear it, don't you?
I do. Sometimes I do. I think it bounces from you to me, and
let's just pretend that the other person's not here, and let's just talk. Let's just whisper between us. Wait, this is getting weird. Never mind. All right, I think we bring this back to Bento, and we see what he says.
All right, look, I agree. Look, we did what we set out to do. This was a search and rescue. We searched the dome. We searched the ship. We searched around the area. We can't be wandering around in the mist somewhere. Mm-hmm. They already knew that there was a mission here. Mm-hmm. They already had things that they were already searching for. I think whatever it was got out of hand. I'm not putting you at risk. I'm not putting me at risk any more than what we already are. I think we go back. We let her know that they're all unaccounted for. We couldn't find them. And we leave it at that. But then we have a heart-to-heart with Bento because, this may be our line of work. I don't appreciate being lied to. It's not worth the 10 megas.
All right. So before we head back, let's talk about how we handle the core from the Delphina. I feel like we give Reggie Jr. a crack at it as well. But there's no reason why, and there's nothing that says we have to turn that over. I think we give that to Bento and let him decide.
Well, I think the NDA would say otherwise, Reg. I mean,
look, we can speak to what, but Bento is part of that.
But this, yeah. But I mean, this is their property. I mean,
that's why we let him decide what to do with it.
No. I mean, I feel you, but I think, everything goes back to them. She does what she does, but again, we have to have a conversation with Bento, and he might not like it, but I don't like. I don't want to put someone in harm's way because somebody's not telling us something. I mean, this was the conversation we had.
Let me ask you a question right now. Let's say we go in front of Bento, and the gist of what he throws down at us is these situations are not going to change. That we will have to accept that whenever we are put on a job by dark matter, that this is the possibility of what this is basically the reality of what we're going to be go on. What will you say to that?
I don't know, Reg. I mean,
my assumption is that is what he's going to say. He's probably just going to like humor you until you've had enough. And quite frankly, Nash, I don't want to see what happens when you've had enough.
Well, I think you can recall on several occasions Bento having said that he's looking for any high-profile, high-income clients that he can, and he would be perfectly happy to do a whole lot of work for Asilis Ardassian and other celebrities that would put Dark Matter's day tripping services on the map. When it comes to companies like X Investments, it's just more of a random opportunity that happened to come up. They're not really the kind of jobs he's searching for.
Right.
This was an emergency.
Yeah.
Or so they said.
The player gets it. Nash is hot.
And I like that. I like when Nash is hot. So I want to propose also that there is the possibility that maybe you and I should take these sort of things down a notch. Now, this is sort of out of character for me, but search and rescue, emergency, find people. We can't find people. We don't spend a minute more.
I mean, if the circumstances were different, then I think maybe we're here for a couple of days or a week. I mean, you don't want to leave anybody behind. Someone's in trouble. How
do we even determine that at this point?
But that's what I'm saying. This situation is different. I think given these circumstances, we fulfilled our obligation as much as need be.
Mm.
Have you, though? You haven't even searched the entire clearing.
Oh, shit, there's something in the clearing.
No, what I'm saying is you've searched the dome, and you searched the path from here to the ship, and you searched the ship. But you haven't searched the surrounding area. So how much due diligence can you say you've done?
Shit, Richard, there's a voice in my head that...
So you hear it too.
Your mission, I'm again, the voice in your head is you guys imagining what Bento would say. And Bento would say the terms of this mission are search and rescue. That's what you're contracted to do. Search and rescue.
So remember, Nash, when you found it odd that the clearing hadn't been overrun?
Yeah.
You made that astute observation. What if there's more out there? I would just... Let's do this, okay? We both hear this disembodied voice. We don't need to discuss it any more than that. So,
well, you know what? I'll tell you. I mean, I could have played that as a conversation with Bento, but I just thought it would be easier, and you guys know him well enough.
I'm
right. That you guys know what he would say here.
Yeah. I just... Player and character are incensed right now and just want to say, fuck you. We're done.
All right, let's do this then.
And
All
Bento
right.
would probably, you're right, he has a good chance of backing you up no matter what goes down. I mean, he believes in you guys and he has your back.
Yeah.
But if you want to get paid for the job, you have to at least do due diligence on the job.
No, I hadn't even. That's something that probably would have come up earlier if I hadn't even considered it. But yeah, the fact that there's a clearing and the fact that Nash brought it up earlier, that it seems odd that there's no overgrowth in the clearing, is worth looking at. That's so. What I'm saying is, let's check the clearing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we...
You know, Bento would say, did you do... If we really thought about it and we really did the due diligence, would we check the clearing? I know you're hot right now, but...
All right, look, I mean, it was dark when we went out to the ship. I mean, it hasn't been that long. Let's at least wait until morning. It'll be a little bit easier to see.
That's a good idea.
All right, and you know what? I just thought this is a rather unusual situation, but that strategy and tactics skill that you're occasionally talking about for Nash, I kind of thought this might be a moment for a role like that.
Ooh, all right. There you go. You know, I'm going to use the blue dice. Oh!
Yeah.
I got a 5.
Yeah, that'll definitely do it. Okay, so the way that with as small a crew as you usually have, as you have right now, rather, I mean, a search and rescue is usually a vast operation involving multiple groups of people, but a tactical search and rescue still has to proceed according to a plan. And the way the plan is usually done is you search one area and you either maintain a sentry or a drone there as you move on to the next area, and you divide the map into like hexagonal portions and move clockwise. So that would start by starting due west because it's the easiest to start with, and clear basically a dome-sized radius out on the west side of the dome, and then stick a drone there, but your drone is fucked up, so maybe stick the bot there, and then move on around the dome. And it would probably take a few hours per section. And then you could declare that section, that whole circumference secured. And then again, leave a drone, which you don't have, or a bot out there to patrol that perimeter. Then the next day, you start on the second ring outside of that ring. And you can expect to spend a couple days if you want to do a good job.
Reg, I think we're going to be here for a couple days.
I mean, that's fine.
I mean, if we're going to do this the right way, it's going to take us, 100 meters all the way around the dome in a big friggin' circle.
I'm on board. Let's do it right for Bento, because we can only assume that he had no idea. Well, why would he? I feel like you'll probably cool down. We'll be working. Let's do it. And to tell you the truth, the more I think about it, the reaction from the dog mimic. See, I can't imagine these things are terribly hostile to begin with. So, if we have an interaction with one of them, I think I know what to do.
All right, I just don't touch it.
Well, a lot of the things that I do involve touching, but I understand what you're saying.
I know.
No, it's going to be like I'm not going to yell at these things anymore, you know? I mean, I'm saying these things, I just don't know anything about them. I won't be yelling at them. Okay? But we're going to see. If we see one, we're going to see what happens.
All right.
Talk nice and sweetly to it.
Fair enough. He checks his chronometer to see what part of the cycle night day are we in? Could we do some shifts, catch some Z's, and then?
Oh yeah, you've got 8 hours till morning.
Oh, I mean, we can feel pretty sad. Do we need a watch? I mean, I'm all for giving the disembodied voice the reasons to fuck with us, but do we need a watch? I mean, we've got Dan. Dan can do Overwatch for the night. And you and I can get a full 8 for whatever benefits that gives us.
No, I mean, we're working now. We're working, Reg. I mean, we got to do 4 and 4.
All right, I'm in.
All right.
What watch do you feel comfortable with me taking?
Okay. I said earlier when describing the strategy of a search that you might want to leave a sentry or a drone or a bot to secure an already cleared area. That way you don't end up going twice over the same area, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't let new stuff come into the area because you got a patrol out there. Well, you don't have a drone anymore, but you do have that bot.
I mean, we could position it behind us as we clear and just have it move with us as we're going.
We don't have the resources to like leave something at each section, so it could trail us. Yeah.
I mean, we could always throw a stake in the first section too, so we know when we get back around. I mean, we know kind of where we're going to be because
we're going to totally yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Are we going to do that now, or are we going to sleep first? What do you want to do?
I mean, Nash would be pushing for sleep. Right? Yeah. I mean, just because
let's get a toy 4.
Yeah, I mean, like we spent the day at work. You know, we were in the simulator. We jumped out.
Yeah, and you've probably been on planet for 8-10 hours now.
Yeah,
it's in the contract. Every 8 hours, we get 4 hours of rest or something. I don't know.
There you go. Sounds good. Okay, so who's sleeping first?
Reggie. Nash would stay up. Nash is pissed. He can't sleep.
All right, so what are you doing for the next 4 hours? Anything?
Well, I'm having sexual nightmares for sure.
You are.
I'm sorry. Never mind.
I mean, I think he would just kind of talk the stuff out with Dan to try to get himself back under control. If they knew this, but they didn't tell us because Dan is completely impassive and Reggie can be, really passionate too, which is not helpful for Nash in situations like this. So he's trying to work it out, kind of with Dan.
All right. So Dan is trying to tell you how likely or unlikely these various theories that you come up are, and that and he's constantly reminding you that correlation doesn't equal causation, and he doesn't really have a lot of data to go on. Plus, as you've determined, there are gaps in his memory when he was shut down and doesn't know what was going on. But given all of that, he feels like interactions between Mentaka and the crew started out normal and fine, but after the end of the first day, Mentaka started working alone. And then after the end of the second day, Dan had no more contact with anyone but Mentaka.
After the second day?
Yeah.
All right. And, they're like, well, what do you think? They had sent, the mission here prior. Were you here then? Did you have contact with anyone?
I have no knowledge of any previous mission, Nash. I'm sorry. This is news to me. There are no logs from the previous mission in the core drive that you plugged into me. I simply noticed that the timestamp on the original logging of the time-space coordinates predated our current mission.
Sure. All right. Well, okay. Any chance they could have wiped you out, or?
That is absolutely possible.
All right.
However, I find it less likely that Dr. Mentaka knew what to expect, given the change in his attitude between day 1 and day 2. I expect that Dr. Mentaka discovered something on day one, which then changed the way he interacted with the crew and myself.
Do you think he could have been...
For instance, it was on day 2 that he began his programming efforts.
Well, do you think... I mean, it seems as if he would have come into contact with the mimic. Do you think that it has some sort of symbiotic relationship with whatever it comes into contact with? Do you believe that's possible?
I cannot read Dr. Mentaka's notes. I know that the program he was working on was intended to enable me to analyze mimic samples, but that program was never completed. And he did not keep his logs in my memory banks. He wrote them down on the paper you have described, scattered all over the room.
Yeah. And that's kind of above my pay grade. All right, well, I mean, I guess just keep your sensors up.
Perhaps this is of interest. The last action that I have logged before Dr. Mentaka told me to fire off the sensors and then left through the airlock was to call the service bot into him.
Well, the service bot was wonky. I mean, the central core was pulled out, and you saw that the data itself was fried, all jumbled up.
I must assume that Dr. Mentaka performed both of those deeds.
Shit, maybe we'll take another look around the sleeping quarters. Maybe he stashed it in something in there.
It is certainly possible.
Yeah, maybe we just didn't find it. I mean, we wouldn't have been looking for it, so we know what we're looking for. Give me something to do until Reggie gets up. Thanks, Dan.
You are very welcome, Nash. I am programmed to be friendly and helpful.
And you are. You excel at both. So he would head back around to the sleeping quarters, kind of open up the door, see Reggie, kind of like judge if he's like up or sleeping or rolling around, like he knows he doesn't sleep super well. And then try to figure out which bunk was Mentaka's, if he had, left a personal item or something. And we found like PDAs and books and things like that. And do like a more thorough search and see if you couldn't find that the module for the robot.
All right. You spend maybe an hour searching that room as quietly as you can. You can easily tell which bed was Mentaka's. There's some of his notes in the same handwriting on the bed, and the bed appears to have been made and then not slept in. Most of the other beds are like kind of made sloppily or look like they never got made last time someone got up. But this one bed is made tight and looks like it may not have even been used the whole time. There are some notes on it, however, and they're in Mentaka's hand. There's a lot of math and a lot of genetics and a couple scribbled things in the margin. And you notice one of these notes is a question mark, and then underneath that it says, "Trust no one."
Oh.
Now, you're not a biologist or a scientist, but up above where it says "trust no one," it looks like he's working out some sort of genetic sequences because he's using notation, DNA notation.
Well, shit. I wonder if the rest of the crew got infected. And then he was trying to figure it out. Well, fuck it. So he folds the paper up, he sticks it in a pocket. If it's close to around the time that they'd be switching shifts, he just kind of goes over and gives Reggie a shake.
Okay. Reggie, it's your turn.
There goes my testicles. What? Oh.
Hey,
yes.
you all right there, buddy?
I'm sorry. And Reggie looks around like, okay, right. Everything's okay, right?
He looks down at his crotch.
Wait, nothing is okay. And Reggie gets up. All right, I think we're good. Looks, this bed's pretty comfortable.
I'm gonna
That's
over here.
Probably wise. And Reggie will head out to his watch.
Hey, so I was chatting with Dan a little bit. So it was like the second day Mentaka started like behaving differently to the crew. And then I was searching around to see, it seems like he probably took the module out of the robot. I didn't find it in here. I just figured we give it another look through to see. I was looking while you were sleeping. I didn't find it, but I found this. Pulls paper out. It's got this. It looks like DNA sequence, maybe. I don't know. This is above my pay grade, but it says trust no one. So I wonder if we're going around this the wrong way. I wonder if the crew was infected, and he was trying to figure out maybe a test to see if he could figure out who was who.
Jesus.
Or who was real.
Oh, but I mean, even if that was the case, I mean, you saw the way it impersonated a dog.
Well, yeah. I mean, it kind of looked like a dog, but only because we knew there was a dog here.
Right, but like if he knew Philip, who was on his team, and then all of a sudden something that kind of looked like a melted crayon version of Philip, I mean, he's going to know that it's not Philip. Right?
Well, that's true. I mean, that's true.
I mean, but that's just like a very simplified. I mean, what if they're better at making humanoids? I don't know.
Oh, maybe the first crew that came in, they were here for longer. I mean, you were saying how fast that moss or mold or whatever was growing. Maybe that first crew looked more human. Maybe they got a hold of the rest of the crew. Maybe they had contact with the former team.
All right.
I mean, layers upon layers, Reg.
I mean, layers upon layers, and we don't have all the information as usual. So, I mean, is this one of those things that Bento would say, hey, maybe that wasn't part of the deal? Did I sound like him? I've been trying to impersonate his. Maybe this wouldn't be exactly what we're supposed to do.
You're not quite getting it. It's not what I hear.
It's a little bit. It's lower than I think.
Maybe, a little bit. Yeah.
I'll keep working on it. But anyway, I think we stay the course. We'll start searching the clearing area, and then we'll just kind of see where we're at.
All right. I mean,
so sleep tight.
Yeah.
Hey, Reg.
Yeah.
Stay frosty, buddy.
He said it. I will definitely stay frosty.
All right. So while Nash is sleeping, what are you doing, Frosty?
I'm going to grab a seat in the main room there with Dan, and I actually had a thought that Reggie would start peppering Dan with questions about the crew. Actually, while being on watch, I'd be checking in whatever manner we had that set up, like because we can't watch outside of the dome, right? So we're just kind of just in case anything kind of comes up inside of the dome.
Yeah, well, looking out through the dome is very, very blurry. You see swirling lights and sometimes scary looking shapes.
All right, so Reggie would probably pace around, checking, just watching the swirling shapes. Like, so Dan, let me ask, what was the crew like that came with Dr. Mentaka?
Okay. Dan can detail the crew, down to their names and professional specialties. And they all seem like they were young, fairly recent recruits for X Investments. They were all junior to Dr. Mentaka and had general support roles. None of them was a specialist. Mentaka was the only specialist on the team. As far as Dan can infer from the orders he was given and the types of media he was asked to produce, on the first day, the crew all worked together with Dr. Mentaka, setting up sensors, running different sorts of diagnostics, and in general, acting like a normal crew might be expected to act. Something changed by the second day, though, because Dr. Mentaka starts giving the crew time down, which they mostly spent watching movies and writing in their journals and filming each other in the commons room, while he sort of sequestered himself away in the control room and was writing notes and doing some sort of research, which he apparently was keeping from Dan by periodically shutting Dan off and by simply doing his theorizing by hand. So on the second day, the crew was basically told to, take time off, consider yourself on leave, watch movies, do whatever you want. I'll be busy in here, kind of thing.
So was any of the crew required to what was their? They were just a support staff for Dr. Mentaka?
They were simply here to assist him in his experiments, atmospheric, radioactive, any possible life forms, whatever support he might need. Dr. Mentaka was a well-regarded genius, both in xenobiology and a well-known day tripper.
So would he have had to have report that he had basically taken them off of their duties? I imagine he put a requisition in. Listen to me talk like I know what the hell I'm talking about. So listen to me. I would assume that he would have to request all of this support staff now. So wouldn't he have to account for their activities?
He may have to account for their activities, but he was under no obligation to use them. They were simply available if he needed them.
All right. Okay. That's fine. And he kept all these notes. All these notes are all over the place. Is that where we're at?
It's clear that, it's not clear, but it is almost certain that if he was hiding information from Dan, then that might mean he was hiding information from XI. And he was almost certainly hiding information from the rest of the crew.
So, jeez, I guess we just tapped out. I don't know why I'm even trying to investigate this anymore. It's not like we're even supposed to be looking into any of this. I just feel so helpless when it comes to hey, go rescue these people. Hey, there's no one around. I mean, I know we're going to go search the area, but what are we going to find? We're not going to find people who are just okay. We're not going to find the crew just wandering completely healthy out there. This is something broke bad. And he kept the whole thing secret from you, Dan, and he kept all of his little notes. Are any of the notes around now, or do we collect them?
Oh, yeah, they're scattered all over the room.
I mean, they're scattered. Look at this guy. He'll pick up a couple of papers and start to look at them. But to read through them, I just randomly, here's one, here's another one. So now he's got 3 pages and he's leafing through them. What is this? And he'll just start to try to read them.
Well, you know what? You just came across something that you hadn't noticed before. You hadn't put it together before because you kept seeing the word beta, but then you remembered that on that video, somebody in the video referred to the dog as beta. So the dog is the beta. And you're looking at the notes and you're reading them differently. You're going, oh, this paragraph here, he's talking about the dog. And it ends up saying, gonna find the fucker who took beta.
And that's something that Mantaka wrote.
Yep. That's the last thing written on that page.
Oh, God. I mean, Dan, did Mantaka ever mention that someone took the dog?
I have no information on anything like that. No.
Can you bring up for me some of these video logs that they had? And if you could sort of like filter out, I'm looking for all the I'm looking for like any instance where Beta was in the shot. Is that something you can do? Maybe not.
I can review the video archives. And
yeah, let's find all the Beta stuff. I want to see this dog.
Now remember, he has no cameras in here or throughout the rest of the room. He has scientific sensors on the outside of the dome, but he also controls the 3D holographic video movie viewer thing. So he has access to all of the movies, both the ones they took with them here and the ones that they shot themselves.
Okay, that might be my thing, because we were watching a video of them, weren't we? Yeah, so that's what all I was looking for, is more like that.
Yeah, and Dan has access to all those. So he's going through the library and he manages to pull up all the shots that have the dog in them. And all of them are from the first and the beginning of the second day. There are no shots of the dog as we go into day 2. And there are no shots of anyone after day 2. There's no recorded video after day 2.
All indications is that Dr. Mantaka loved this dog.
Oh, there are many shots of him playing with the dog, wrestling with the dog, and getting angry at people who don't show respect to the dog.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about diaries. Are there any diaries on log from the crew?
Dan has no diaries on log. You did find one you did find a written diary in the bunk room. And that one was in the form of, the guy was writing to his mom, and he was writing about how boring it is, and Dr. Mantaka gives them nothing to do, but at least it's a paycheck.
Okay. All right. Beta. Somebody took Beta the dog. And I'm assuming the entire crew, actually. And I think Reggie's just going to ruminate on that probably for the rest of his watch. The dog thing is now a sticking in his mind a little bit more. So the dog's name was Beta. Someone took Beta.
There are some clippings, not clippings, but media stories among the older recorded data. One of them is like some sort of front page news story about Drir Mantaka, one of his previous missions. And it's just a piece of PR fluff, but it does mention in there that it shows a picture of him with his dog, and that he's known amongst day tripping circles as being kind of a quirky guy who always insists on bringing his dog with him on every mission.
Oh my God, is it the same dog?
It's the same dog. Yeah, and this is from a newspaper, or news story like several years ago.
Damn. This call was close to his dog, and his dog was stolen. Shit, I'd probably snap too. Just look at Nash and how he is with that cat.
Go ahead and give me a brains roll.
I will do it.
Since you're looking through his notes.
Oh, one of them was 6.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
3 6.
That's, you get an experience point for that one. That is a yes and. Okay, so you discover the page where he's talking about alternate generic properties. There's a bunch of big words going over your head.
Oh yeah.
But this is where he first writes the word mimic and puts quote marks around it. So it's just clear that he is the one that first noticed this thing. No one else knew it was here, and he named it. He named it a mimic. I'm going to go ahead and give you the and rather than asking for it. You find another page of notes where it looks to you like he's working out different branches from a chemical basis. One of them is labeled human with a question mark, and then later underlined with a different pen at 3 bold underlines under the word human.
So there's 2 words. So human is twice. Once it's underlined 3 times.
The human is once with a question mark, and then he came back later and underlined it.
So what else is surrounding that? Like, what else is with that?
It's a diagram branching out in several different directions. You'd think what he's doing, this is like DNA science, but he seems to be tracing the ways that this thing can morph in different directions. And one of the branches is labeled human.
He caught one. He has to have had one. We looked at this entire facility, right?
Yeah, and you found a spot of blue goo on the corner of Dan's console and on the floor beneath it.
Did we take a sample of that?
Blue slime. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you stuck some.
We must have, we grabbed some of that.
You can still see it from where you're sitting.
Look at that blue goo. And Reggie's going to get up close to it.
It looks just like the blue substance that the dog form was made out of.
I feel like John, myself, is an idiot here. So Reggie's going to get right up to the blue goo, and I'm going to touch it. With my little fingies.
You're going to take your glove off? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be in your suit, I guess. So, yeah, because you're inside now. So you're touching it with bare skin. That's my question.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay. It's cold and slimy, but doesn't seem to be alive anymore. It's just like a slimy stain.
I'm gonna pick it up and like play with it in between my fingies.
Well, you already scooped up the sample that you could take, and so what you're left with is, just a little bit of like stuck to the floor.
Is it doing anything to the floor?
No.
Max says, "Eat it."
Eat it?
Please don't eat it.
That's an example of Max failing his brains roll.
Oh, don't. All right. Oh God, I don't know. Reggie is just continues to stare at it, and he is at a loss. But he knows the dog is important, and he wants to find the damn dog. Or at least have the opportunity to talk with one of these things again.
Yeah, I think you guys have basically already theorized the answer, but I think the question in Reggie's mind is, how did this goo get inside here?
Well, because he had one. Dan, he had a mimic in here. He had to have.
And something went wrong.
Something went wrong. Did he kill the mimic, or did the mimic kill him? We don't know, because he turned you off. These stupid gung-ho scientists and their bullshit.
That's a theory, the veracity of which I cannot deny, Reggie. You are right in your assumptions.
Let me say, where would you keep a mimic if you were to take one and bring it inside of the facility? What would you do? What would you do, Dan?
This is a difficult situation for me to imagine, as I have no body or arms or legs. I know what the mission protocol was. If a specimen were to be captured, it would require the knowledge of the entire crew, who would decide depending on the situation, how to best handle that situation.
Well,
A dead specimen could be brought back easily. A living specimen would require more coordination on the part of the whole crew.
well, we know we cut out the whole crew. All right, something went wrong, and we just don't know what it is. Reggie leans back in the chair, kicks his feet up, and goes, I suppose when we go and we check this place out, at least we know that they're probably going to be on edge anyway, because there has to be more to this story.
So, the 4 hours has gone by, and it's time to go out and search. Oh, that's not actually the thing I wanted to screen share. I've got a better version of that.
Nash wakes up to Reggie sleeping in the chair in the...
Like Nash's like internal clock goes off since they're working, and he kind of like snaps up. Nobody's in the room, and he's like, all right, well, that's, maybe he's coming to get me." And then he like looks at his watch, and it's like a half an hour past when he was supposed to get up. Fuck. He goes out. It's Reggie.
All right. Oh, is Reggie popped up?
Doing the walls. Doing the walls. What? Oh, you wake up. Wake up? You woke up. That's great.
No, I'm up, Reg.
Hey, the dog's name is Beta. What do you think of that?
Say it's weird in a meta sense that that's the dog's name, but
yeah, it's very weird in a meta sense. Also, I thought it was interesting that you might want to know that this bloke, this Mantago Drir himself, was very attached to this dog, and in fact, the dog was stolen, and he was going to try to find the fucker who took him.
Shit,
where did you make of that?
Dan didn't tell me that.
What? No, I read it in this, and Reggie shows him the pages. Look at these pages. You can see at the end of it. Look at this, all this stuff we read before referencing some Beta. I mean, it's the dog. Look at it.
Huh. Fuck, I wonder if we shouldn't like collect up all the fucking papers in here and just sit and go through them. There's papers all over the damn floor.
I mean, I got half of them sticked up on the table over there that I just decided that happened while I was awake.
Well, I mean, I guess when we're done searching, we could always come back and go through the papers, I guess.
Most of them are near incomprehensible. This was a guy with weird handwriting in an age when most people don't handwrite, working at a frantic pace and writing only for his own, reading.
Yeah, a lot of like shorthand and shit.
Yeah.
This is like Nash picks up a couple of pieces of paper and sees that, and he's like, there was one in a million, Reggie. I can't make hiding or tails of this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anytime he mentions Beta, it's the dog. And I don't know what that means, but I'll take from it that he has a similar sort of relationship with that dog as you have with that cat.
But, I mean, your animal's part of the family, Reggie. I mean,
I'll just take your word for it.
Fucking cat saved my life, Reggie.
Hey, I'm not poo-pooing that at all. I mean, I just I appreciate that.
All right. Well, okay. I appreciate that you appreciate that.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I don't know. Maybe in a way I understand because I just yelled at the thing out there and it got scared and threatened me and ran away. Is that what animals do?
Well, I mean, you probably scared it, so it just, like when a cat arches its back or, a dog shows his teeth or whatever, like probably just.
Well, maybe we're going about it the wrong way. I mean, I can't imagine it like, hey, this is the mimic who decided to be a dog. Well, it wasn't a dog. It was like it acted like a dog, but it's still a mimic. So maybe all the mimics are like this.
But where are they at then? Like so if the mimic didn't consume
Here's the thing. They're probably everywhere.
The mimics?
Yeah.
No, but where's the people?
Oh, they're dead.
Well, I mean that's what we gotta figure out.
We gotta search. Let's just search. We're going to search the... We're finally going to search the clearing. Maybe we'll find something else there.
Maybe there's like a whole underground complex or some shit under here.
Jesus, can you imagine?
I can now because we didn't think of it before.
Yeah, that's going to be crazy when we find that.
All right, let's grab a little something to eat and let's.
You know what? Let me try this. Hey, Dan, where's the access point to the underground facility beneath this facility?
Beneath the waste chamber, you will find our recycling unit. Is that what you're referring to?
Most likely.
I am pleased to be of assistance, Reg. I am programmed to be friendly and helpful.
It's very good. Thank you. Maybe we could check that out.
I'm not going in the shitter, Reg.
I mean, that's fine. We'll call it Plan B.
Right. What do you think this is? A Thomas Pynchon novel?
We could make it one.
All right, so we some like MRE type shit, and then fucking Nash should go out, grab the bot, kind of wheel it back, so we can use that in our search parameter, I guess, and start looking to see what we can find. Like, Nash will bend down every once in a while with like the combat knife and kind of like probe the ground to see if there's metal, if there's...
Careful, the ground might be a mimic.
Oh, fuck. When you say stuff like that...
Hey, it was a tree, and then it was some sort of plant, and then it was some sort of demigorgon, and then it was a butterbird.
Okay, Nash, you said you're going out to get the bot. Are you going alone?
No, after Reggie and I are kind of...
We're deploying.
Yeah. I mean, if it's still hard to see, then yeah, I would be like, hey, come with me to go grab the bot. I wouldn't go to where Reggie couldn't see me any longer.
Okay.
Maybe we're still tethering.
Okay, so you're tethered then, and you're out at the edge of the clearing where the bot is, and the bot is just slowly turning its head around and around. But there's a beam coming from over its camera sensor that sort of sweeps across the landscape as it goes, and you see that humanoid form again. It's out in the forest. It's maybe 50 meters away, and it's just standing there. It's swaying slightly, but basically standing still and watching you.
Reggie sees it. He immediately just goes, "Hello," and then just goes about his business. He acknowledges it's there with a hello, and then he doesn't pay it any other mind.
Nash is watching because he's surprised when Reggie's just like, "Hey."
I think this is the right approach.
It crouches down, and now it's dark. You can't see it anymore. There's just a sweep of light went across a humanoid form. You shouted out hello. So from the darkness comes a strange, garbled voice that says, "Now I've got you."
All right, I suppose then we should probably get our weapons out.
Well, mate, I mean,
did you hear that shit?
I hear it.
That was fucking freaky.
You might want to tell me what your next immediate action is. A voice just said, "Now I've got you."
So,
a voice in the darkness that can see you better than you can see it. Because you guys are silhouetted against the backdrop of the lit dome.
This is bullshit. Let's just sort of get our weapons out and just backpedal a little bit. Because that was I didn't expect that.
You pull your weapon out. I grab the robot and kind of like position it in front of us and start moving back.
Yeah, backpedaling.
To where we would have begun our search had this not happened.
Mm-hmm. Keeping that whole situation just in front of us. Okay,
are you being quiet?
I mean, does the bot
being
make
loud
noise as we're pulling it across the ground?
Not yelling or anything, but we're not. I'm assuming we're not trying to be like stealthy, but there's no loud noises, you know?
Okay, so you're just quietly moving or guiding the bot back to the dome.
We're just trying to, just back away.
Are you moving quickly or slowly?
I would say slowly if I'm dragging the bot.
Yeah, slowly.
All right. You don't really have to drag the bot. It's got tractor wheels. You can just sort of guide it and it'll come.
Mm.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay, so you're being fairly quiet and you're moving fairly slowly. And the bot, or not the bot, the voice from the darkness speaks again. And this time it says, "Where are you, you bastard?"
I mean, do you think it's...
Wait, did the voice come from... Oh, there's probably no way to tell. Was the voice from the direction of where that thing was?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I still don't want to engage.
But I wonder if it... I mean, you know, I'm just throwing this out there because if it like consumes the people, like I wonder...
Wait a minute. I just had a thought. I had a weird thought. So Reggie...
Not the first time I've heard this.
Reggie stops, stands up, and he goes, and he says out loud, not aggressively, and he just says, "Drail," and then he listens. Is that you?
And the voice from the darkness says, "Now I've got you." Make a brains roll.
Wait! Oh no!
Reg,
his brains roll. I think I get it. I think I understand.
Are we both making rolls or just Reggie?
You can both do it.
Okay.
Oh, I rolled a 6. I think I get it though.
Nice.
I don't. I got a 2 and a 3.
Okay, Reggie, you just got an experience point for that.
I think I get it.
Yeah, when it says "now I've got you" the second time, it says it exactly the exact same way as it did the first time.
All right.
And you tell me what the "and" is.
Okay, the "and" is that. So the "and," oh, this sucks. I want you to know I'm okay if Reggie dies doing something. I am okay. Reggie puts his gun, he takes it, he puts it on the ground. He just puts it on the ground and he just walks out in that direction. Please kill Reggie if this is stupid. I just think I understand. He puts the gun down and he says, and he puts his hands up and he kind of like, he gets down on his knees and he goes, "Now I've got you." And he's looking non-threatening.
Like Nash stops, like when you like walk forward and kneel down, like he's like walking with the bot and he's kind of got it between us. And then you,
I think I've got it.
What are you doing?
Just stay there. Just wait.
Okay. So Reggie says, "Now I've got you." And the voice says, "What the hell?"
What the hell?
What the hell? It says it the exact same way. The exact same tone, intonation, beat, timbre, everything.
Oh, let me try this. Beta.
It says, "Now I've got you."
Hey, Nash.
What?
It's repeating the things that it's heard.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I mean, the other thing I thought was maybe it was like if it ate the people, it was like reliving the memories. But since it's repeating what you said, you're probably right.
Okay, let me try this. My name is Reggie.
There is no response. And there's no response. Sorry.
Okay. And I don't see anything?
No.
There's no response. Do you see anything?
No, I barely saw it before. It's just the light from the bot hit it.
All right, what if we just continue? I don't think we're in any danger.
I mean, hopefully that's true. But where the fuck did the crew go? I mean, unless Mentaka.
Well, do you want to try to see it?
The creature?
Yeah, because
yeah. Oh, definitely. I'm looking for it.
Okay, well, you could just direct the light from the bot.
Shine the bot light over there, in that direction.
Yeah. Okay. So he is there like a program on it where he could just like stop the head from revolving and then just position it to where the light is?
Yes, but you could probably just tell it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you are, yeah. I don't know.
No. I was laughing because I feel like
you could literally tell the bot to turn that light 7 degrees clockwise.
Okay, perfect.
And it'll do it.
I do it.
Okay, so brains rolls from both of you.
Oh, good lord. 2 is my highest.
I get a 6.
Huzzah!
Okay, this is a yes and I'm going to tell you what the and is. Yes, you do see the thing. It is no longer shaped like a human. Now it's just shaped like a blob, like a slug or something, and it's moving away. But in the direction where it's moving away, you notice something else unusual. The ground looks like it has been dug up and then piled back.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, Reg, that doesn't look good. I mean, that thing is
running away. It doesn't look good because of it. I think it's just not. It's not this thing, though. Look, it's not this thing. I think we got to check that out.
There's a big spot, 6 feet by 10 feet, where there's no moss. It looks like the ground was dug up in a rough rectangle.
Reggie goes out towards it. He goes, "You can. I mean, maybe you stay." Or just kind of stay behind. He doesn't take his gun.
No. You did. Hey, no. Grab that.
But I don't want them to think that you think I should just. Shit.
Well, the thing is going away.
Right, but I think Reggie is thinking that it's leading him somewhere. that it's going somewhere. Okay, so fine. I'll pick the weapon up, but I'm slinging it on my back. I'm not holding it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Just make you.
All right, you know what? You're right. Thank you. You're right. And then Reggie's going to actually move out towards that disturbance of ground.
Okay, what about Nash?
Come on, Robbie.
All right. Nash and the robot are following along behind. As you get beyond the cleared area, the robot starts moving really slow. The ground is slimier and more uneven out here. So Nash and the robot are a little bit further behind when Reggie gets up to the big rectangular plot of land. Now, the mimic is no longer within sight. It went at a pretty good rate of speed, a fast walk away from here to the west. Okay. This plot of ground was, I'm just going to say what it looks like, man. It looks like a big, shallow grave.
Okay. Well, I think we just need to see a proof, right? We just need to see something, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is...
He just starts digging with his hands.
Can I program the robot to dig with its fucking...
The robot
flippers?
Yeah, the robot does have some tools that will... They're not great, but they're like trowels.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can help. And yeah, just about a foot beneath the surface, it's a human arm.
God damn it.
It's wearing the X Investments support suit.
Oh, we're going to have to dig this whole thing, Reg. I mean, we...
No. I'm thinking about, what happened? Why this far out? Why do this at all?
Who knows why people do anything? I mean...
But Reggie just trails off and starts digging and clearing away bodies.
All right. You guys spend probably at least 30 or 40 minutes digging through. The ground is wet and it's not hard to dig. So by the time you consider yourselves done, maybe an hour has gone by. The 3 members of the crew are all here. They've all been dead for days. Dr. Mentaka is not here. To be continued.
Oh my god.
Damn it.
Yeah, these bodies are really gross. There's fungus and mold growing all through them. They've been dead for days.
Reg, this is why you do your due diligence.
Yep. I don't even want the 10 megas.
I mean, it was... I don't even want to say it. I'm not going to say it. It seems kind of cold.
Say it.
Well, it was,
say it so no one can hear it.
It was 5 mega for everybody that we brought back, but it was for survivors. You think there's any...
Good.
I didn't want to say it. It came in and it went out.
No, it's fine. No, it's good. It sort of puts a perspective on all of this that probably needed to be there.
Well, closure, if nothing else, for the families of these 3.
I mean, that's what I'm taking away from it. Assuming X Investments even told these people's families.
I mean, they had to know they were here, I guess. Are we still playing? We already to be continued.
I don't know. I mean, NDA. They probably signed NDAs too.
Because I think at a minimum, Nash would pull their ident cards as proof.
That's a good call.
And then
I was going to take a finger, but ident cards are better.
Oh,
it's probably better. And then I guess take the bodies back to the dome. I mean, I don't think they can be preserved at this point. But
they're run through with fungus and mold of all kinds.
Yeah, ident cards. Yeah.
All right, so just the ident cards then.
Oh, can we take some like photos?
Sure. Well, we have the suit cams, right?
Yeah, right. So we'll suit cam the whole thing. Like this is what this is. So there's no Mentaka. Is there a dog body?
No.
Shit.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I guess we end on that. I mean, I've
yeah, that's where you end. You guys standing over this gross grave full of bloated, distorted human bodies.
It's like a low camera shot. It's like Nash's hand with the ident cards, kind of like with the dirt and the bodies.
Reggie covered in dirt, sitting next to the dead bodies.
Holding one guy's hand.
Yeah, and a distinct feeling that you're being watched.
Yeah. These things they're repeating what they've heard. So out of character, no meta. Is that what you're doing?
We're done. We're out.
Out of character, like I won't meta, obviously. I just need to know. Are they repeating what they've heard? Don't tell me. Never mind. I don't want to know.
That's exactly what I was attempting to imply. When it repeats something it's already said, it could literally be a tape recording. It sounds 100% like the last time you heard it say that.
That's what when you said that. When you said it the second time, that was my thought. And then when you said that, I was like, yep. Repeating what it's heard.
I'm assuming with the dice rolls in a very meta sense, then when Reggie said something, if it either passed or failed, it would repeat what Reggie said. Or not. Don't tell us.
Yeah,
in my head canon, that's how it works.
This particular part of this whole thing is so interesting to just me. So Reggie's going to hone in on it. It's repeating what it says. We need to befriend these, not befriend, but just like leave them alone. Sooner we can get out of here with what we need, the better. But like we should, like, do we burn the dome down?
No, I don't think so. We would look for that probably. No, Dan's in there.
This way, okay, as far as search and rescue is concerned, you have found 3 of the 4 crew. The only one not accounted for is Mintaka. So your search has just become 75% easier.
I feel like also we've got all right, yeah.
All right, our third team member, Max says, "How did they die?" Can we tell that by looking at them?
Yeah. It looks like they were corroded from the inside out, as though they drank something highly acidic or corrosive.
Well, we know that the that highly poisonous shit, we found some, and some of them were empty.
Yeah, you did discover that there were a few cubic centimeters of that stuff missing.
This motherfucker poisoned them.
We'll have to go back to check to see, if there's like an MSDS, if it says whether or not it's corrosive or not.
There has to be one. That is an OSHA regulation. Which, if megacorps are megacorps, OSHA is definitely a thing. And they definitely...
this stuff will absolutely kill you. I mean, even a tiny dose of it will be fatal. It's used to destroy alien life forms.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, they were the aliens on this planet for sure.
On a planet where the atmosphere is already corrosive.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is really nasty shit. It's destroyed your bot, or your drone rather, and it's clearly marked with the skull and crossbones everywhere you come across it. Deadly poison.
Great.
And it looks like these people somehow were coerced into drinking it. And on that happy note,
we'll end again. It's like Lord of the Rings. We're just going to end like 4 times. We're just going to fade, and we'll come back in.
That's right.
So all those cool establishing shots to end it don't mean dick.
Damn shit.
Oh, there's Frodo again. There he is again. He's got a sad look on his face. Oh, one more time. Sad look. Sad, knowing look, sharing looks with Samwise Gamgee.
Who's the real protagonist of that movie.
Yeah. Yes.
He's the glue.
All right, guys. I'm out of here.
All right. Thanks, Todd.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks for running.
So good. So good.
He's still there.
Yeah. You know, it's weird. I have completely closed Internet Explorer. I have to use Internet Explorer. And I have closed it, but I still... you still see me?
Mm-hmm. We still hear you.
and I can hear you, too, even though Internet Explorer is no longer running on my machine. Oh, it's running in the task manager.
There he goes.
That is how that should have happened.
That's what I expected.
Yep.
Oh my god. Well, shit.
That was crazy.
Oh, hold on. We're gonna do outro shit. Good night, Max. I'm typing it all, but you're probably still there. So good night. Thanks for coming in and hanging out with us again. Cool. Well, that was so player was frustrated and upset because this is like real work type stuff, and it just gets me all fucking worked up.
Yeah.
I think it was a fun episode, but like it kind of like it turned into a shit show for me because like we went completely out of character to just be angry.
Yeah, right. Out of character anger at real life scenarios driving our in character decisions and actions.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess we never did actually check outside for the key clue.
Why would we? We're out there now. That's all that matters.
Well, I mean, it kind of makes sense, though, right? I mean, like this is exactly the conversation that we had before we left. Don't fuck us over, and they fucked us over.
I just don't think they. Excuse me. They don't care.
They don't.
I mean, megacorps. You know, we should probably just stop demanding that they don't fuck us over, and we just assume they're going to. And then go into it with that logic. So, like when they say, "Yeah, there's nothing else," like, okay, good. We want the ability to bring 2 more people on this mission. Then, like,
yeah, or more money or something. I mean, I don't know. It's super frustrating.
It'd be more like a thing where it's like, okay, we're gonna get fucked over. So we talk with Bento and we say, yeah, I mean, whatever they say we need, if it's 2 people, just add 2 people.
We just double everything. It's 10 megas, now it's 20.
Double the amount of money. Because no one's going to tell us everything. They're all liars. So we want to be prepared for like we have someone who can deal with the issues that we had with the computers, you know, like with the ship and things like that. If we had one more body, if we had Christ. Who was the other mechanic guy? Oh,
Duke's the sniper. Julio's the electronics guy.
Julio. If Julio was on that mission, I think it would have went different. We probably would have got more information out of the computer.
I think we probably got all we were going to get.
Actually, yeah, that's true. We did ask it a lot of questions.
Yeah, and I made the rolls we needed to like plug stuff in and like download the data and whatever.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
God damn it. I hate corporations.
Yeah, I hear you.
Most of them.
Especially mega corporations.
Especially day tripping ass mega corporations.
Mm-hmm. For sure. All right. Well, John's got his own show. It's Tales of Blood and Stone. If you want to check that out, I never put it in the show notes. But
you don't have to ever put it in the show notes. I mean, I'm definitely in a little bit like the holiday / con. Well, the last like a month or so has just thrown our schedule off.
No, I'm still waiting. Freaking guy, it's been like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's red. I did a lot on it today. It's almost done. It's almost there.
All right. Okay.
It's almost there. Hey, you know, I can't. I knew when it began that that there was going to be periods of time where it was just going to be like, well, it's been 3 weeks, you know. So that's why I don't feel comfortable blasting it or like promoting it as much because I know I'm gonna lag every once in a while.
Yeah. All right. Well, we look forward to that. I know I'm enjoying it. So if you're looking for other podcasts, you know, of course, listen to this podcast. Like, cue us up in the top there. You know.
Yeah.
But if you're looking for something else to like fill the gaps in and stuff, Tales of Blood and Stone. It's dark.
Listener discretion is required.
Yeah. It can get pretty. I don't say nasty because nasty is not the right word, but it's dark for sure.
I think we handle some of this stuff okay, but there's I cut out a lot of stuff where it's like we went too far.
That's fair. I can see that could happen. Cool. All right, and we've got a couple of sponsors if you want to check those out. It's Birds of a Feather Coffee. You can use tinyurl.com/legendary brew. It's roasted by our own GM Neil. Birds of a Feather Coffee Company is a small batch craft coffee roaster. The Legends is roasted to order. If you put an order in today or tomorrow or whenever you listen to this, it will probably be roasted within the next day or two and shipped out to you fresh as can be. If you use code LEGENDS10, you're going to get 10% off your order, and shipping is free. It's a very easy drinking medium roast. It's really good. It's what I keep in my house. I just tweeted out a picture. I just got some Saturday. I think I just got 2 bags in. So I'm all freshed up. My cabinet smells like coffee right now, so it's fantastic.
I'm going to actually set an alarm to do this. Every time you say this, I go, man, I'm going to do this. Because I want to try to do that French press situation.
Oh, French press is the way to go. I love it.
I looked at that other one there that we talked about the other day. The what do you call it there?
AeroPress.
AeroPress. Yeah, French press is fine.
Our other sponsor is Thing 12 Games. Same deal over there. If you use code LEGENDS10, you're going to get 10% off your order. You are going to pay for shipping, though. The guys over at Thing 12 Games, it's a small independent game company. They're using Kickstarter to fund their stuff. You've got the Dice of Games, Dice of Pirates, Dice of Crowns, Dice of Dragons is going to be the next one up. Seals of Cthulhu is nearing the end of production, should be shipping soon. I think you could probably pre-order that now. You also have Click Click Boom, which is a social deduction game with cute, fuzzy little woodland animals who are playing Russian roulette. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it's fun.
Awesome.
It's a fun one too. I've demoed it with Sean a couple of times at a couple of the cons here in Arizona. So it's always fun to like walk up the table while he's trying to demo the game and be like, I'll get in on that, and you know, flipping cards back and forth and passing stuff. It's a really fun game. I know they have some stuff. They have another Kickstarter coming out in February. So please check out the sponsors. If you order from the sponsors, it helps us out tremendously. It helps put a little bit of money back into the podcast because everything costs money. And right now, you know, we're just paying for everything. So, but it's cool. I mean, we love it. We enjoy doing it. It's fun playing games. It's fun hanging out. And, but, you know, supporting the sponsors takes a little bit of the edge off. So we hope that you'll do that. We appreciate you come by and checking it out. Ratings and reviews on iTunes or whatever your podcatcher of choice is also super helpful. It just helps people notice the show and, you know, kind of spread the word out there. So we hope you would do that as well. And thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.